1995, Game 5 of the playoff series between the Yankees and Mariners. With a single swing, Edgar Martinez turns a one-run New York lead into a Seattle victory celebration. It was and remains the greatest moment in franchise history. Now, 5 years later, the Mariners feature some different faces, and they're a team trying to write an even greater postseason story. Early in this league championship series, they seemed well on their way. In Game 1, a dazzling performance by the Seattle pitching staff stifled the Yankees en route to a 2-0 shutout. Game 2 opened with more of the same. The Mariners, in fact, were 6 outs away from a 2-game lead. And then it all fell apart. After a 16-inning scoreless drought, a torrent of Yankee offense. They scored 7 times in the bottom of the 8th and won 7-1 to square the series, heading for Seattle. Was that the moment when the Yankees reversed the series momentum? When a slumbering giant awoke? Or was it the last gasp of a once great team now past its championship peak? Some of the answers await in Game 3, next.
This is the Sun America NBC pregame show. The 2000 American League Championship Series. Tonight, Game 3, the New York Yankees versus the Seattle Mariners.
A damp 53 degrees by Puget Sound, but the roof at brand new Safeco Field is closed. We'll have no problem playing baseball. In contrast to the monstrosity that was the Kingdome, a pitcher's nightmare with its artificial turf and bandbox dimensions, this place is not only beautiful, but it favors the pitchers, who tonight happen to be 17-game winner Aaron Sele for Seattle and the 19-game winning lefty Andy Pettitte for New York. Welcome to Game 3, everybody. With Joe Morgan, I'm Bob Costas. Perhaps because of their new surroundings, the Mariners in large part retailored their team for the 2000 season, and that new approach served them very well through almost 5 games in the playoffs until Game 2 and the bottom of the 8th.
Bob, they had to change their approach completely from the Kingdome, where they had set a single-season home run record, to the Safeco Field, where they have become a pitching and defense-oriented team. They have good starters, they have a great closer, and they're a team that does not score a lot of runs. In fact, they've only scored 5 runs in their last 3 ball games, including the clincher against the Chicago White Sox. Yet they've won 2 of 3. And in the 3rd game, they led until the 7th inning of the game against the Yankees, when David Justice hit this double off the usually reliable Arthur Rhodes. This started the downfall of the Mariners. They were not able to make a couple of plays that they normally make very easily, and this contributed to the Yankees scoring 7 runs, and was capped off by this 2-run homer by Derek Jeter. It was only the Yankees' 2nd home run in 12 ball games.
So Seattle's bullpen, which had hurled 15 consecutive scoreless innings in the postseason, was finally lit up in that 7-run 8th inning in Game 2 at Yankee Stadium. So instead of taking a 2-0 lead back home, the series is now even, raising the possibility that this series goes the limit. And if it does, tonight's starters would have the ball again in Game 7 at Yankee Stadium. Aaron Sele was an all-star this year. Joe Torre picked him for the American League squad. That's about the only time Sele has had fond memories of Torre, because in the postseason as a member of the Texas Rangers, he was twice beaten by the Yankees in the division series in both 98 and 99, and he was 0-1 against them this year. As for Andy Pettitte,
well, they chose Pettitte because he figures he's a big game pitcher. This is by design that he's going to 3rd game. He moved in front of Roger Clemens so he could pitch Game 7. Torre has a lot of confidence in Pettitte, and he has pitched very well against the Mariners.
And here is Pettitte's manager with Jimmy Roberts.
Well, Safeco Field, the single most difficult park in all of the American League in which to score runs. Joe Torre, who does that benefit, your team or theirs? They struggled offensively as well this series so far.
Well, considering, Jimmy, that, when I'm comfortable with my pitching, I feel more comfortable with our team. So, if that translates into our advantage, I'll take it. But, of course, you're still on the road wearing the gray uniform.
Momentum does mean something. You told us that before. Do you feel like the momentum may have shifted at this point because of that 8th inning and the burden being lifted?
Well, hopefully. I'd like to believe yesterday's off day was a lot more relaxing because we won a game and the way we did. And I felt that the 8th inning was very pivotal, not only the fact that we scored 7 runs, but the fact that the hits that we did get were mainly to the opposite field. And that's pretty much what we do when we're successful.
Can a performance like the Yankees had in the 8th inning translate into actual performance?
Well, I'd like to believe that. I think momentum shifts in short series very quickly, and you never want to let it go. I know I've spoken to this a number of times. When you have a 3-1 lead or a 2-0 lead, they say, well, you know, all you have to do is win such and such and such and such. But that all of a sudden you lose a ball game, and I think it just turns it right over on your side, because there's nothing better than being a winning team yesterday.
All right, Joe Torre, thanks very much. Let's go back over to Jim Gray, who's in the other dugout.
Well, just 5 runs in the past 33 innings, Jimmy. Lou Piniella, that concern you?
Well, we need to score more runs. I thought the biggest key for our ball club coming into this series was to put some runs on the board, and we're going to need to score more.
Now, you had said in our meeting before that whoever wins this game is going to have a nice edge in this series. Are you telling that to your team, and does that put you guys backs to the wall?
No, it doesn't. We're at home for these next 3 games. We need to win 2 out of 3 here. That's our objective. I'm sure the Yankees feel otherwise. But if we can do that, we can get this thing back to New York and win it over there, hopefully. But this game's a big one for both teams.
All right, Lou, best of luck tonight.
Thank you.
All right, Bob, that's the story from down here in the Mariners dugout. Back upstairs to you.
All right, Jim, thanks a lot. We'll take a look around Safeco Field. We'll have the starting lineups and the first pitch after these messages and a word from your local station.
This has been the Sun America NBC pregame show. Sun America, the retirement specialist.
First League Championship Series game ever played at new Safeco Field. Let's become more familiar with the situation here as we check in with Jimmy Roberts. Jimmy.
Bob, how are you? And they've got open-air baseball here in Seattle. And they did it not by moving mountains, but by moving the roof. The roof here at Safeco obviously opens and closes. That's been a big story all year long. Now, on a clear day, you can see not only downtown Seattle, which is just about a mile over my shoulder, but they tell me also the Puget Sound and the Olympic Mountain Range. But on days when there's inclement weather, as there was today and perhaps threatens to be tonight, they close the roof. How do they do it? Well, they do it by activating all 96 of these. They are hydraulic motors. They're only 10 horsepower each, but they move the roof on a track. The roof weighs 22 tons. It's made of steel and Teflon. How does this ballpark react when the roof is closed? Well, it all depends on who you ask. But one thing we do know, the roof has only been closed on 10 occasions this year. The last time, September 10th. Who was the winning pitcher? Aaron Sele. He gave up just 1 earned run and struck out 10, beating Texas. Bob?
Jimmy, thanks very much. Lou Piniella, who ought to be as expert on this subject as anyone, feels that the ball actually carries a bit better with the roof closed as opposed to it being open. Generally speaking, as we look around Safeco Field, the ball carries all right to straightaway left and right, but it tends to die in the gaps and to straightaway center field. Now let's take a look at the MasterCard starting lineup for the Yankees. It's exactly the same as for Game 2. Paul O'Neill has had his share of success against Aaron Sele. One of those 2 home runs came in the division series a couple of years ago, a game in Texas.
And let's take a look at the defense behind Aaron Sele. We know that Seattle made 2 errors in Game 2, but we also saw a couple of misplays that were scored as base hits. But this is a good Mariner defense, and they will have to be good tonight. And I expect Sele to try to keep the ball down, try to get a few ground balls, so the infield becomes more important than normal.
Aaron Sele is 30 years old. He's 6'5" and 215. Former Red Sox and Ranger. His 17 victories this year included 2 shutouts. His earned run average was about a run better at home than on the road. He had 1 decision against the Yankees and lost it. His career postseason record is 0-2. Each of the defeats, a division series loss to the Yankees, 1 in 98, and another in '99. He had a very strong no decision in Game 3 of this year's division series against the White Sox. He allowed only 1 run. The Mariners eventually won it in the bottom of the ninth, so he has pitched well of late. In fact, he was 4-0 in the season's last month, and the Mariners won all 6 of the last half dozen starts he made down the stretch.
And let's take a look at the scouting report for Aaron Sele. He has a great curveball, but the key to his success tonight will be whether he can control his fastball moving in and out. Because the Yankees have 5 left-handed hitters in the lineup, he's going to have to stay ahead of them, but he was their best pitcher in September. And here's a guy that if he can throw the fastball and get ahead, his curveball will be more important because they will chase it out of the strike zone.
He throws that classic over-the-top curve. If you think of it, as scouts sometimes do, like the face of a clock, it's a 12 o'clock to 6 o'clock curveball. It's one of the major league's best.
And that's difficult for the umpires to be able to decide exactly when the ball comes down in the strike zone.
Chuck Knobloch has had a pair of hits in each of the first 2 games. One-time Gold Glove Award winner whose defensive problems have relegated him to DH duties and left Luis Sojo, the veteran, as the starting second baseman. First pitch is a ball. The plate umpire is Wally Bell. Fastball for a strike. Mark Hirschbeck calls the plays at first. Jerry Davis at second. Fielding Culbreth has replaced Randy Marsh, who's out with a broken bone in his left arm. He's at third base, Culbreth. On the right field line, Angel Hernandez. Left field line, John Hirschbeck. 1-2.
And you'll see the Yankees swinging a lot earlier in the count than they normally do because they do not want to get behind a guy like Sele who has the great curveball. They will try to pick out the fastball and hit it.
And his 1-2 pitch. Breaking ball down and away.
That's a good curveball. Normally you get a hitter to chase that. That's a good eye there by Knobloch not to swing at that.
Full count now. And the payoff pitch from Sele to Knobloch is taken for strike 3, and he is literally hopping mad.
It actually looked like a perfect pitch. But we'll see. It looked like a perfect pitch. Watch the target. Right there. He doesn't move the glove at all. That tells you that the catcher knows it's over the corner because the catcher will usually pull it back in. Right on the corner. Nice pitch. Excellent pitch. Especially with a count of 3-2. Knobloch was expecting a better pitch to hit than that.
Knobloch left to mutter to himself as Jeter steps in. 2 for 7 in the series, including the 8th inning opposite field home run in Game 2 at Yankee Stadium. This one is sliced down the right field line, and he dumps it in there for a hit. Buhner gets it back in. Jeter with a 1-out single.
That's why Jeter had 200 hits. He will use the entire field. He'll use the entire bat. He'll hit some off the end of the bat. He hits some off the handle, but he stays right on the ball. Right there, he just fights that fastball off inside, and he pushes it down the right field line.
Which brings up Justice, who started the 7-run outburst in the 8th, day before yesterday, with an opposite field double that nearly cleared the fence.
One of the things I expect the Yankees to do today is to put more runners in motion to try to offset the great curveball that Sele has. That'll force him to have to throw more fastballs.
And a long drive to right. It's got home run distance, but it's foul.
But David Justice is sitting on a first pitch fastball, and he's going to try to hit the hole. And he just gets out in front just enough that it hooks foul. But you will see the Yankees will swing a lot earlier in the count than they normally do. They're not going to take a lot of fastballs for strikes.
Jeter held by Olerud at first. Derek had 22 steals this year and was thrown out only 4 times. Olerud backhands it. Goes to Rodriguez for one, and on to first. The 3-6-3 double play. Very difficult to turn. The Mariners did it neatly, and they're out of the top half of the first.
This is why you want a left-handed first baseman, because all of his throws will be to the inside of the diamond. And watch this play by Olerud. He takes the tough hop. Now it's an easy throw for him. If you're right-handed, you have to whirl around. And now he gets back to first base, and he makes this play as well as anyone. And here's Derek Jeter going into his good buddy A-Rod at second base, and A-Rod says something. He kind of points at him, then throws a little dirt on him. Chad Curtis would be proud of that, wouldn't he?
A tough play and the way you have to make it. They both understand that's the way the game has to be played. A number of Mariners have had a fair share of success against Andy Pettitte. Rodriguez not so much with the batting average, but 5 of his 8 career hits against Pettitte have gone for the distance.
And here's the defense. Pettitte helps his defense by picking off a lot of runners. You see he has 54 pickoffs in 6 seasons. So I expect that to slow the Mariners running game down to a crawl.
Here's Ricky Henderson, who reports that the ankle he slightly sprained in Game 1 is giving him no trouble at this point. 8 for 21 in his career against Andy Pettitte. A broken bat roller to Soho. And Henderson is gone.
It's a good cut fastball from Andy Pettitte. He's a different pitcher now. He used to just throw a lot of cut fastballs to right-handed hitters. But he started Ricky off with a fastball away, and there's the cutter inside. And he has to get out of the way of the bat. Routine play for Luis Soho at second base. In the past, right-handers could just sit there and look for the slider or the cut fastball inside from Andy Pettitte. But now he runs the fastball away, throws the changeup away, and he uses the cutter as well. So I think he's a much better pitcher now than he was before because he uses both sides of the plate.
Pettitte split 2 decisions against Seattle this year, but that's misleading. In the loss, he had a no-hitter through 6. So he's pitched well against the Mariners. Strike 1 to Mike Cameron. Cameron's 0 for 7, and he struck out 4 times through the first 2 games. As a team, the Mariners have only 12 hits and 3 runs in the first 2 games, and no Mariner has more than 2 hits individually. Fouled away, 0-2.
And let's take a look at the scouting report on Andy Pettitte. They say he uses both sides of the plate against right-handers. He has a great pickoff move, which stops the running game. And he is a big game pitcher. And that's why Torrey wants him to go Game 7 if there is a Game 7.
Bouncing ball behind third, backhanded by Brocious. The throw's in foul territory. He really had no chance. Cameron runs well, an infield hit.
Once the ball took a big hop and Brocious had to backhand it, there was no chance. Watch this second hop. It's a big hop right there. Now watch this one. Brocious has no chance. He has to make sure he catches it first. Now from foul territory, you're never going to be able to throw Mike Cameron out. I mean, it won't even be close at first base. Well, he got on the box well, and he has an infield hit. He's a key factor for the Mariners because I'm sure that he's going to be able to control Ricky Henderson, meaning Andy Pettitte.
So Cameron's aboard with his first hit of the series. He stole 24 bases for the year. Ball 1 to A-Rod. Let's go down to Jim Gray.
All right, Bob, at the end of the first inning there,
A-Rod turned around and asked Jeter, "Are you okay on that double play?" Jeter nodded back and said, "Yes, you?" And Alex Rodriguez said, "Yeah, I'm okay." Threw a little dirt at him. Now he's up at the plate. Nice little byplay between the two, Bob.
All right, Jim. Rodriguez 2 for 7 in the series, including a Game 1 homer at Yankee Stadium. Pettitte with the good move. Cameron gets back. Andy Pettitte was terrific in Game 2 of the division series at Oakland, pitching on his usual 4 days rest. He came back on 3 days rest in Game 5 and could last only 3 2/3. 2-0. The Yankees had staked him to a 6-0 lead. He couldn't hold on for the win. The bullpen was able to do it as the Yankees won 7-5 and advanced to face Seattle. If there is a Game 7, Pettitte would pitch it this coming Wednesday night at Yankee Stadium on his full 4 days rest. The 2-0 pitch. Hit right back at Pettitte and through. Cameron rounds second, but he'll stop there as Williams guns it back in. Consecutive singles with 1 out in the first.
Good hitting there by Cameron and by Alex Rodriguez. Rodriguez goes right back through the middle. See, this pitch is away. He just reaches out and drives it back through the middle. I actually thought Cameron was going to go to third base, and he had a good shot at it, but he decided to hold up at second base. This is the sinking fastball away, not the cutter. Posada set up on the outside part of the plate, and he hits it back through the middle, and you see little reaction time for the pitcher when a ball is hit sharply like that.
This Mariner lineup is soft in some places, so generally the Yankees want to try to pitch around the 3 and 4 hitters, Rodriguez and Martinez. With Cameron reaching, Pettitte couldn't do it with A-Rod, and now he can't do it with Martinez. First and second, 1 out. Martinez is 10 for 28 lifetime against Pettitte with a pair of home runs. He hit .324 this year and led the league with 145 RBIs. That one's in there.
That's a curveball that he likes to throw on occasion. Now, he doesn't throw a lot of them, but this is a good curveball. He has a good curveball that he uses against some right-handed hitters, but he doesn't throw a lot of curveballs.
Pettitte, who was 19-9 this year, has his sign from Posada. His 1-1 pitch is ripped to left for a base hit. Cameron being waved home by Larry Bowa, the third base coach. Well ahead of Justice's throw, which is cut off by Brosius, and Seattle jumps in front.
And Bob, as you mentioned, the big hit in this inning was Cameron getting aboard because they didn't have any place to put A-Rod and Martinez. So he tries to come after him. He threw him a breaking ball. He tried to get up and in with a fastball, which I think is the way to pitch Edgar, but Edgar just rips it to left field for a base hit. And Justice doesn't have a chance to throw Cameron out, and he scores easily. I'm not sure a left-hander can get up and in on Edgar, but that's the way you like to pitch him, with the fastball.
Now Posada out to talk with Pettitte. You remember, Joe, that in that division series, that spectacularly exciting 5-game set in 1995 between these teams, Edgar Martinez just destroyed the Yankees. He had 12 hits and 6 walks. He hit .571 and had 10 RBIs in the 5 games, including the double that sent home 2 runs in the bottom of the 11th, turning the 1-run deficit into a Mariner victory. He had been just 1 for 7 as they worked carefully to him in the first 2 games at Yankee Stadium, but with 2 men on, Pettitte had to come to him, and Edgar made him pay.
Interesting thing just happened, Bob. Posada went out and talked to Pettitte. Then after he left, Soho and Jeter came in. What they're doing is changing the sign. They felt like maybe Cameron was giving signs to Edgar Martinez.
And the pitch to Buhner is in there. The 0-1 pitch. Fouled off 0-2. Rodriguez at second, Martinez at first. A run home in the bottom of the first. 1-0 Seattle. Pettitte with that penetrating gaze as he gets his sign. Ahead on the count 0-2. And a roller to the right side. Tino Martinez will take it himself as the runners move up. Second and third, 2 down.
It's a good pitch by Pettitte, but he jams him, and he's not able to hit it hard enough where they can try for a double play. You'll see Posada set up on the inside right there, and he gets it inside. He jams Buhner, and he just pushes it down the first baseline. Not much on it, so there's no chance for Tino Martinez to do anything but take Buhner at first base. But now it puts 2 runners in scoring position for John Olerud,
who is the only left-handed bat in Lou Piniella's lineup tonight. He knocked home 103 for the season. Strike one. So much was made, and understandably so, of the Mariners' loss of Ken Griffey Jr. Overlooked was what they added, including Olerud as a free agent, Mike Cameron in the deal that sent Griffey to Cincinnati. They signed Aaron Sele to lead their starting staff, and Sasaki out of Japan as a first-rate closer. A ball and a strike. Terrific job done by their GM, Pat Gillett.
You're right. They just retooled the entire offense, and they made their pitching so much better. The ballpark helped, but they also added some good arms.
The 1-1 offering. He checks his swing, but it's in there. The home runs are down, but the overall run production pretty much the same. In fact, a slight increase without Griffey, which is no knock on Junior.
No. I don't think anyone feels that they're a better team without Junior. They just added some other parts, and now they're a very good team.
The question for the offseason, does Rodriguez go the way of Randy Johnson and Griffey? That would be devastating for this franchise. Olerud got a little piece of it, and it remains 1-2.
And you can see right now that Pettitte was trying, when he throws the fastball, it's going to be in tight on Olerud. He took the first 2 fastballs in, and he's going to stay in tight with the fastball. See where Posada set up? Fastball in. And when he throws the cut fastball or the slider, he's setting that up by using the fastball in.
Rodriguez away from third. Martinez leads from second. The 1-2 pitch is popped towards short, and Jeter's got it. 3 singles produce a run, but the Mariners strand 2. They lead it 1-0 after 1 at Safeco. Bernie Williams, Tino Martinez, and Jorge Posada for the Yankees in the second. Game 4 tomorrow night. Nighttime in much of the country, late afternoon in Seattle. Sends Paul Abbott, who was 9-7 this year, to the mound for the Mariners against Roger Clemens, who went 13-8 and appeared to be the Yankees' best starting pitcher the last couple of months of the year, and then was hit hard in the division series and moved down in the rotation. It appears that tomorrow will be the only start of this series for Clemens.
We saw how Freddie Garcia pitched the middle of this order. You get a look at Roger Clemens. And Sele's going to try to do the same thing. You're going to try to throw a lot of breaking balls to Bernie Williams, change ups to Justice, and use the fastball against O'Neill. That's exactly how Freddie Garcia did it in the first game, was very successful. That's probably their scouting report.
Sele falls behind Williams 3-0 to start the second. Freddie Garcia may not be used to chilly temperatures of any kind, hailing from Venezuela, but looking at him, you might be misled as to just how cold it is. It's a little brisk, but it's not that chilly. Williams swings on the 3-0 pitch and drives it to deep right, way back, and this one has tied the game. Torrey green lights him on 3-0, and Williams hammers it.
Very unusual to see a guy swing 3-0 leading off an inning, but that tells you how much respect Torrey has for Sele's curveball. He wants his hitters to be able to pick out the fastball and do something with it, and that's exactly what Bernie Williams does here. So he gets the fastball and he drills it, and sometimes a pitcher just tries to throw a strike 3-0 and he doesn't really give you his good fastball. He was trying to throw it in the middle of the plate rather than in or out. And Jay Buhner goes back, but he doesn't have a chance.
Tied at 1 and ball 1 high and away to Martinez.
That also puts something in Sele's mind in that he knows that he can't fall behind too often because Torrey's going to turn his hitters loose. So he's going to have to be more, he's going to throw more strikes early in the count.
Flirting with danger again, he falls behind Tino 2-0. This is Martinez's 10th year in the majors. Exactly half of it as a Mariner and half as a Yankee. The fan was finally goaded into returning the Yankee home run ball to the field, and there's Cameron tossing it out of play.
I think if I came to a game, I'd have to put one in my pocket that I bought at the store and throw that one back. I don't think I would throw a major league ball back that was hit for a home run.
Strike 1 to Martinez. Few people are that well prepared to pack a baseball just in case. This ball is hit well to center. Cameron turns in pursuit, back to the track, to the wall. Out of here! And Cameron's almost out of here, too. Back-to-back home runs. And a 2-1 Yankee lead.
And a good job by Tino and a good job by Bernie Williams picking the fastball out and drilling it. And he said this was a big ballpark. The Yankees are making it look small. That was a drilled into almost the deepest part of the ballpark. Another fastball right out over the plate, middle of the plate, and Tino Martinez hits it. Cameron thought he had a chance about here. Then he realized, I'm running out of real estate. And you're right, he almost went with the baseball.
Nobody, unless it's Jim Edmonds in St. Louis, makes spectacular outfield plays like Ken Griffey Jr. So I'm not trying to say he was replaced in any sense by Cameron, but Cameron will make his fair share of leaping catches like that. That one just beyond his reach. Posada swings on the first one and fouls it back.
That's why we said in the scouting report it's important for Sele to use his fastball and get ahead in the count rather than fall behind when they can set just dead red. And they were sitting on those two fastballs and drilled them.
A ball and a strike to Posada. Watch Cameron's effort again from a different angle. You can't give it much more than that. The ball was gone, and he very nearly was as well. And the 1-1 pitch is inside. In their first 235 at-bats of this postseason, the Yankees hit 2 home runs. 2 home runs in this inning, back-to-back. First 2 hitters of the second. And Posada steps out. Tino Martinez had been struggling at the end of the regular season, first few games of the division series. Got the bases loaded double and 3 RBIs in the first inning of Game 5 at Oakland. He's now 5 for 9 in this series against Seattle. Check swing foul, 2-2.
And that's what you will see from Sele from now on. He will throw breaking balls when he gets behind in the count to try to keep these hitters off balance.
Fastball got him.
Smart pitching right there. So he will throw the fastball when he's ahead in the count or they're not looking for it. But when they're looking for fastball, he's going to have to throw the breaking ball. Look at the target. Perfect pitch right on the inside corner. He's made some perfect pitches with his fastball. Another one there is he got Knobloch looking, and now he gets Posada.
Now O'Neill still looking for his first hit in this series, 0 for 6, though he did have an 8th inning sacrifice fly in Game 2 in the Bronx. Up high.
And if you're the Mariners, you're lucky this happened with this early in the ball game and with the bases empty each time, because that lets Sele know that he's not going to be able to get these Yankees out with his fastball. He's going to have to use his curveball, and he's going to have to make sure he focuses on throwing it for a strike.
He's fallen behind again. Here's the 2-0 to O'Neill. He waits on it, hits it the other way, but backing up is Bell to make the catch. O'Neill can't get on track, and you can see his frustration.
I'm surprised that he would swing at a pitch like this. It's 2 balls and no strikes, and it's an off-speed curveball that's not even a strike, and he swung at it late. That's not normally the way Paul O'Neill approaches a 2-0 pitch.
Soho swings on the first one, bounces it to his counterpart at second base, McLemore. So Sele retires 3 straight after the back-to-back homers by Williams and Martinez. 2-1 New York. Bottom of the order in the bottom of the second, Bell, Oliver, and McLemore for Seattle. Ball 1 low from Pettitte. At age 28, this is Andy Pettitte's 6th year in the major leagues and 6th trip to the postseason. This is his 17th playoff or World Series start. In there for a strike. He's got a record of 7-4 overall. 3-2 in the division series. 2-1 in both the LCS and the World Series. Despite all that success, he was on the trading block barely a year ago. They almost traded him to Philadelphia. Lined hard by Bell to left for a leadoff hit. The 4th hit in an inning plus against Pettitte.
Well, that was a cut fastball. He wanted to get in, but not only did he not get it in, he got it down. He's been, because see where the target is, it's supposed to be up. But look at that, it's down and out over the plate, and Bell rips it to left field for a base hit. The cut fastball is more effective when it's up around the waist.
Here's Joe Oliver. That he would start tonight was a no-brainer for Lou Piniella. He's 6 for 17 with a homer in his career against Pettitte, who starts him with strike 1. Meanwhile, Dan Wilson has never been able to get anything done in the playoffs. An otherwise good player, Wilson is 2 for 52 in his career as a postseason hitter. And Piniella likes the way Oliver handles the pitching staff a little bit better than what he sees from Wilson. Pettitte's 0-1 pitch. Bounces in front of the plate. Posada with a nice job of blocking it.
We saw Joe Oliver do a lot of this in Game 1, blocking pitches and keeping it in front of him. And there you see Posada does the same. In fact, we probably did not give Joe Oliver enough credit in the first game for the way that he handled Freddie Garcia. They worked very well together.
Skipping back is Bell.
Let's take a look at his move to first base. See, once his foot goes behind the rubber like that, he has to throw to first base. But it's a very fine line there. But if his foot goes behind the rubber, he has to go to the plate.
Another base hit. The 5th single of the game for Seattle. Pettitte has faced 8 hitters. 5 of them have singled.
And this is another cut fastball inside, but he's not getting it in enough, or he doesn't have enough movement on it, because the right-handers are getting it out on the meat part of the bat and not on the handle where he's trying to put it. But I want to clarify something. I said if his foot goes behind the rubber, he has to go to the plate. Is what I meant. But if he just lifts it, he can go to first base. But once his foot goes behind the rubber, he has to go to first base, to the plate.
And now here's McLemore, the switch hitting second baseman.
And we'll see if Lou continues to play small ball as he did most of the season.
He looks to bunt, pulls back, takes a strike. Here's some evidence of their approach this year. In addition to the good defense and improved pitching, which you see by the bottom two numbers, the bunts, the walks, the sac flies, the steals, all indicative of a different approach in the absence of Ken Griffey Jr. They still get plenty of pop from Rodriguez and Martinez, but elsewhere in the lineup, they're willing to play for 1 or 2 runs. He squares again, pulls back, and takes a ball.
Well, what you do in situations like this is you make sure that you use all of your outs. You make sure that you're going to get the runners over to second and third without hitting a ground ball to shortstop or second, and they turn it into a double play. So if you move them over, you almost assure yourself of getting 1 run.
Brocious and Martinez creeping in. And he takes strike 2. So he's squared 3 times, but hasn't attempted the bunt.
Well, that was a good pitch from Pettitte because it was running away, and what he wants to do is bunt the ball down the third baseline, and that pitch is the outside corner, so how is he going to get it down the third baseline? And that's why he took it. You need to force the third baseman to field this ball. You can see that pitch is away, so McLemore took it.
They've moved back at the corners, thinking Piniella won't keep the bunt on with 2 strikes. 2-2. Pettitte gave up 10 hits in just 3 2/3 in his last start in Game 5 against Oakland. 5 hits already in an inning plus here in Seattle. And his 2-2 to McLemore. He's going to bunt this time, and he gets it down. Posada's only play will be to first, and they get him there.
Great job. Great job by McLemore. What happens with 2 strikes and everyone moves back, it's much easier just to put the ball in play. He didn't have to bunt this down the third baseline and make the third baseman field it. No one's expecting it, so he's just going to bunt it out in front of the plate. That's a great job by McLemore. Just put it out in play, and you stay out of the double play. Posada comes up and throws him out at first, but he moves the runners over to second and third. To see with everyone back, all he has to do is get it in play. No one is charging the mound or charging in. And he's out at first, but he accomplishes what Lou Piniella wanted him to in the first place.
So now they could tie the game without benefit of a hit. A hit could give them the lead back. The bat goes one way, the ball the other. It's picked up by Brocious, who throws him out, and the runners have to hold.
And that's the only place that he could have hit it, other than back to the pitcher where the run couldn't score. If he grounds it to short, second, or first, they would have been able to score. But this is the second bat that he has shattered of Ricky Henderson's. And because David Bell doesn't have a lot of speed, he didn't try to score. Normally with runners in second and third like that, you go on contact.
That cutter in on Henderson. This is the first inning when he shattered the bat. So Ricky's using up a lot of lumber here in Game 3. Here's Cameron, who had an infield hit and scored in the first. Headed from the stretch. Cameron looking to bunt, takes a strike.
I'm still surprised that they didn't send Bell from third base with 1 out. Normally with runners at second and third, you go on contact because you still have a runner in scoring position. But Bell may have been fooled by the bat because the broken bat went toward the left side of the infield.
Even with the contact play on, I think Brocious would have had a pretty good chance for a play at the plate.
And that's okay. You force him to make a play.
1-1. Rodriguez is on deck, so even though first base is open, you know that Pettitte wants to make it happen right here against Cameron. Cuts and misses, 1-2.
Take a look at this pitch. It looks like a little sinker from Pettitte, but could be a cutter. That's a cutter. But he got it down.
Bell away from third. Oliver will lead at second. 2 on, 2 out, and the 1-2 pitch. Misses. Joe Torre has constantly shown faith in Andy Pettitte. It was Torre, really, who interceded a year ago and said, no, don't deal him. Let's stick with him. Pettitte was having a horrible time there. Righted himself and pitched well for the Yankees in the World Series last year.
And he and Posada having trouble deciding exactly where this pitch should be or what it should be. He shook him off twice, and they're going to start all over again.
The 2-2. Hit towards short. Jeter plays it cleanly. Pettitte has allowed 5 hits, but only 1 run through 2 innings. And it remains 2-1 New York. Here's the last out in the bottom of the second. The Cameron ground ball. Watch the reaction by Pettitte. And some of the sounds of the dugout.
There you go. That's it. What a battle.
Lee Mazzilli, the Yankees' first base coach, with Don Zimmer and Joe Torre. Now Mazzilli back on the lines at first. Willie Randolph is the Yankees' coach at third as Brocious takes strike 1, starting the top of the third. And he lines one to left that drops for a hit.
Well, Sele got him started with a fastball away, which was a good pitch. It's the curveball, but he kind of hangs it, and Brocious is able to get enough of it to get it to the outfield. Watch where the pitch is. So it starts way up, and it kind of stays there. But Brocious goes out and hits it to left field.
Which brings up Knobloch, who was called out on strikes on a 3-2 pitch to start the game. He looked like he had an idea about dropping one down. Instead, he takes a strike. Knobloch peering at Randolph. There are at the moment 6 managerial openings in the major leagues. And talk about premier managers like Piniella here in Seattle, Dusty Baker in San Francisco, Bobby Valentine with the Mets, whose contracts are up, the possibility of them moving on. Knobloch doesn't offer, so again, Willie Randolph's name, Chris Chambliss, among others, will be mentioned in connection with some of those openings. This was the first time since 1942, there's Chambliss, the Yankee hitting coach, when there wasn't a single in-season managerial change in the major leagues. But once the regular season ended, they started dropping like flies. Bunted foul, 1-2.
Well, the fans want him out, but he was still in the batter's box when the ball hit him. As long as you're in the batter's box, it's a foul ball. See, he's still in the batter's box right there. And you'll be able to see that he actually doesn't move anywhere before the ball hits him. Foul ball. And I think that's a good, smart play there, just to try to put a runner over in the scoring position.
Nobody out on the top of the third. There have already been 9 hits in this game. 2 of them homers. A little piece of it, Oliver couldn't hold it. Just to finish up the earlier thought, there are now managerial openings in Pittsburgh, Philadelphia, Cincinnati, Los Angeles, the Dodgers, and Arizona. Toronto. I left Toronto off the list. That's the 6-1. A high fly ball to right. Buhner has it lined up. And that's the first out. That brings up Derek Jeter, who is the subject of the SAP player profile. Not a bad profile at that, huh?
Not bad. 3 world titles. That's the most important thing there. 3 world titles at age 26. And the 100 runs scored each of those 5 years helped him to get those titles.
We hear that a while back, Jeter packaged up one of his world championship rings. As he bounces one to the man in question, Rodriguez. There's one on the first. He beat it. So Jeter packaged up one of those rings and FedExed it to Rodriguez just to chide his buddy a little bit. I've got 3 of these. I can actually spare one. Want to look at it for a while? Give it back to me next time I see you. Here he grounds it to Rodriguez.
Well, Rodriguez is pretty deep, and that's what takes a long time to get this double play turned. Rodriguez very deep on the play. Normally you shorten up a little bit so you get the ball a little quicker, but he was a little deeper than normal. So that's a long throw. It's hard to double a speedy runner with 2 long throws, and that's what happened there. The throws were both long, and Jeter is able to beat the play at first base.
So here's Justice, who grounded into a 3-6-3 double play to end the first. Ball 1 high.
The pattern they've tried to use with Justice is throw him some changeups. He handles most pitches well, but the changeup does bother him a lot because he'll get out in front. He thinks it's a fastball, and he tries to be quick on it.
Jeter back. Might not be a bad time to try to swipe one with 2 outs. If you're unsuccessful, you have the heart of the order in the next inning, 3, 4, 5.
Well, 2 things. You also send a message to Sele that you're going to run, and that makes the catcher a little nervous, and he'll call a few more fastballs.
In for a strike, 1-1. You may hear the whistle from the train periodically in the background. The Burlington Northern line goes right by the ballpark many times over the course of 9 innings. The 1-1 from Sele to Justice. 2 balls and a strike.
And you can see Sele is given a semi-slide step, not a complete slide step, but he's shortening his stride. Watch, he's not picking his leg up very high. See, that's more of a slide step, but it's not the slide step. Slide step, you just look like you're playing catch. A la Jim Cott, he used to do that. He just step and throw.
I can hardly think of anyone who had a more compact motion than Cott, put little strain on the arm. Part of the reason why he was able to last as long as he did. Justice goes to left center field. It's going to split the gap. Jeter's going to be able to make it around. Randolph waving him home. Olerud lets it come through, but Jeter scores standing up. And Justice with an RBI double to make it 3-1 New York.
And the fact that they did not turn the double play gave Justice a chance to hit here in the 3rd inning. Fastball away, and Justice goes the other way with it. And this is a big ballpark, so when the ball does split the outfielders, you're going to be able to score from first. And we see Jeter. And he scores easily.
So now Sele peers at Bernie Williams, who rode a 3-0 pitch out of here in the 2nd. First pitch swinging this time. It's McLemore from the outfield grass to end the inning. The Justice double makes it 3-1 New York. Yankee first base coach Lee Mazzilli is mic'd. Listen.
Come on, G, you gotta score. You gotta score. Come on, now let's go. Come on. There you go, G.
Of course, it's highly unlikely that Jeter heard a bit of that, but each team has 5 hits. All of Seattle's are singles. The Yankees have the solo homers by Williams and Martinez and the RBI double from Justice. So the 3, 4, and 5 hitters for New York each have an RBI, each with an extra base hit. The 1-0 pitch from Pettitte to Rodriguez is on the inside corner.
And that's the pitch that makes him so effective. It just catches the inside corners. It's very difficult to handle that pitch without pulling it foul. And if you don't pull it foul, you get jammed.
Here's the 2-1. Fastball on the inside edge, 2-2. We told you about the Mariners hitting so much better on the road than in their home ballpark. No one's stats are more extreme than Rodriguez's. He hit .272 at home and .356 on the road. 28 of his 41 regular season homers away from home. And now he sits down.
Excellent pitching there by Andy Pettitte. 2 on the inside corner and then 1 on the outside corner. Well, he had thrown 2 on the inside corner for called strikes. You see Pettitte goes right on the outside corner. That's great pitching right there.
Pettitte's first strikeout. And now Martinez, who had an RBI hit in the first. Ball strike 1. The 2-time batting champion is a .320 lifetime hitter and hit just about that, .324 this season. Fastball taken for strike 2. This is Edgar's 12th season with Seattle. Only Cal Ripken Jr., Tony Gwynn, and Barry Larkin have been with their original teams longer than that. And of course, the status of Ripken and Gwynn for next year in Baltimore and San Diego at present up in the air. The 0-2 pitch. Again, he hits it right on the nose. This guy hardly ever has a bad swing.
He's just such a good hitter because that was another good pitch by Andy Pettitte. He threw him a curveball and started him off with a strike. He threw a fastball inside corner. And here's that cut fastball. I guess if you're going to say one thing, it didn't get it in far enough, and it was down a little bit. I think the cut fastball is still much easier from the right side to hit if it's down. But he still made a good pitch. He's just a good hitter.
Now Buhner. Pettitte gets the corner. Interesting thing here as we watch Pettitte work early in the game. He's given up 6 hits, all of them singles. At the same time, he's made a number of very good pitches.
He actually seems to be throwing the ball better this inning than he was the first couple of innings.
In his last 2 outings combined, he's worked 6 innings and allowed 16 hits. 6 of them in 2 1/3 here. Buhner fouls it off. Folks, MSNBCSports.com has comprehensive coverage of baseball's postseason. Log on after every game to view post-game press conferences and listen into audio interviews with key players looking ahead to the next game. Plus, check out special interactives and features on each team. All at MSNBCSports.com, the official website of NBC Sports.
Jay Buhner is a guy that you cannot make mistakes on. You can't leave the breaking ball out over the plate or give him the fastball over the plate.
He hit 26 homers this year. He tried to get him to chase one, and he wouldn't. 2-2. Those 26 homers came in fewer than 400 at-bats. He needs periodic rest at this stage of his career, so his ratio was excellent. Martinez at first, not a threat to run. They got him leaning and picked him off.
That's amazing. I mean, Edgar's not going anyplace. You know he's not going to steal a base. And for Pettitte to be able to pick him off, I mean, he's not going anyplace. There's no reason for him to be taking that big a lead or to be leaning the wrong way. He's not going to run. And again, Pettitte picks him off, and that's borderline balk, but he always gets away with it.
Full count. Here's Pettitte's reaction. Got a little more breathing room now with Martinez erased. And he strikes Buhner out to end the Seattle third. 2 strikeouts and a pickoff in the inning for Pettitte. And we're back after these messages and a word from your local station.
Let's take a look at Andy Pettitte's move. It's a borderline balk. I mean, you could probably call it either way. If this front foot goes past the rubber, which is where his left foot is, then it's a ball. He has to go to the plate. Now, is that past it or not? I mean, from this angle, it looks like it could be. See how he steps to even have to throw it over that way. And that's why he was able to pick Martinez off. But there's no excuse to be picked off when you're down by 2 runs. You're not going anyplace. You have to make sure he throws to the plate. Good job by Pettitte to get away with it, or just that's part of his move.
Edgar Martinez, who hasn't played the field with any regularity at all, so he's
been on base a lot.
Oh, yeah. I'm just pointing out that he is a spectator now that his team is back out on the field. He watches from the dugout as the DH. He played 3 games this year at first base. Tino Martinez, who applied the tag on him on the pickoff, takes a strike, 1-1.
He's on base as much as anyone.
Oh, yeah.
But he still got picked off. That's, again, you can't make, I think it's more just concentration. He just lost his concentration. Because everyone knows Pettitte has a great move. The Mariners know it. And you have to be cautious when you're at first base. I'm surprised that Andy threw over there with Edgar at first.
Now Tino Martinez rips it foul. 2 balls and 2 strikes. I think we were on separate tracks there.
Yeah.
Speaking of tracks, here comes the train whistling off in the distance. But just talking about Edgar as a DH and the possibility of their making the World Series, he'd be able to DH here at home and reduce the pinch hitting duties in the National League park. You can see the train through the opening there in right center field.
If you're Aaron Sele, you're going to have to try to find some rhythm, because I believe Andy Pettitte has found his rhythm. He threw the ball better last inning than the entire ball game.
And Tino Martinez hits this one hard but foul. So it's still 3-2.
And you're going to have to find your rhythm with your fastball. You're going to have to move it around a little better, make sure you get ahead, and then you're going to have to throw the curveball where it bounces almost. He's throwing the curveball and he's hanging it. You start the curveball in the strike zone and let it break out. That's when you're successful with 2 strikes on the hitter. But that's what he has to do more of. Use the fastball, set them up. And you see the target there from Oliver was up and in, and that's where he threw the ball. Now watch the target. Watch where he puts it. He wants it up and inside, and he throws it there.
And this one is popped up. Drifting into shallow left is Rodriguez to take it. Tino had 3 hits in game 2 and a homer in the second inning of this game. Is retired to start the 4th. Bringing up Posada, who struck out in his first at-bat. The switch-hitting catcher had 28 home runs this year. Grounds it to McLemore. 2 out of the New York 4th.
And this is what Sele needs. He needs a 1-2-3 inning so he can get his confidence back.
some boos greet Paul O'Neill. He's going to generally be an unpopular player when on the road because he's so demonstrative with his emotions, so he's an easy guy to get on. If he's your player, you appreciate him for his commitment and his passion. If he's an opposition player, he's an easy target. Popped up his first time, grounds this one foul.
Paul used the relatively heavy bat by today's standards. Most of your sluggers use 32 ounces or even 31 ounces. Paul's is about 34, 35 ounce bat. You'd be surprised that a lot of these big, strong guys using the real light bats, but I think this is the approach they take to hitting now. They want to be able to wait and be quick.
Foul back 0-2. Most modern hitters use a bat that's thin from the knob up to around the area of the trademark, and then most of the weight is in the meat end of the bat, and the top is cupped out, getting rid of some useless weight, and they're able to get more of a whip action with it. Sele's 0-2 pitch. He reached for it, rolls it harmlessly to McLemore, and Sele gets that 1-2-3 inning you were talking about, Joe. To the bottom of the fourth at Safeco. 3-1 New York.
NBC's coverage of the American League Championship Series is brought to you by Lycos. Whatever you're into, dig into it deeper on Lycos. By Bristol-Myers Squibb, makers of Provocol. By the Principal Financial Group. For all your goals, plan ahead, get ahead. And by Chevrolet. If only everything was as dependable as a Chevy, Chevy will be there.
With the injured umpire Randy Marsh having been replaced for Game 3 by Field and Colbreth, they changed the umpire rotation. So let's reset them for you. Mark Hirschbeck has home plate, and we'll pick up the rest after this pitch, which is hit up the middle by Olerud for the 7th Seattle hit. Every one of them a single. So just to finish, Wally Bell is the umpire at first. Jerry Davis is at second. John Hirschbeck, Mark's older brother, is the umpire at third. Angel Hernandez is in left field. And the new umpire, Field and Colbreth, calls the plays down the line and right. Randy Marsh, it turns out, had a broken bone in his left arm and tried to just grit it out the first 2 games of this series. Got to give him credit for that. Then the pain became too great.
The Mariners needed that base hit from Olerud in the first inning. They could have jumped off to a quick 3-0 lead, but Pettitte made some good pitches on him. This time he starts him off with a curveball, and he hit it right back through the middle for a base hit.
Olerud must be aware, if he wasn't before, about Pettitte's move after he did Martinez in the last inning.
Well, we showed you a graphic that said he had scored, picked off 54 in 6 years. I think everyone should know. I'm still surprised that Edgar, he probably just lost his concentration for a moment.
One and one to Bell, who hit .247 for the year with 11 home runs. Larry Boa flashing the signs. John Moses is the Mariner coach at first. We're in the bottom of the fourth. The Yankees lead it 3-1. Two balls and a strike.
Normally in this situation, Lou Piniella and his ball club would try to hit and run or do some things, but with Andy Pettitte on the mound, it's just very difficult to try hit and run or to steal a base. It cuts down on the running game completely.
Olerud with a very short lead and easily back.
And that was an honest move right there, a good move.
And maybe the best move is the one that isn't quite so honest.
Right, exactly.
His 2-1 pitch.
I mean, Pettitte is throwing the ball well. He's moving the ball around, and this is another breaking ball down and in. And Bell way out over the top. very tight rotation there. Looks like what he would call a cut fastball, but it has some downward movement as well.
Bell lays off, full count. Olerud is so aware of Pettitte that Pettitte actually has him moving back towards first base on the delivery. And let's see what they do on 3 and 2.
Well, that's why it's so difficult to even hit and run like in the 3-2 count, because he's going to get such a horrible jump that even on a ground ball, it can still be doubled up. And the other is he would easily be thrown out on a strikeout.
Not going. A drive to center. Bernie Williams comes in to take it. He started back. It fooled him off the bat. But he had time to close ground on it. 1 out.
So Bernie started back, and then he breaks in, and he goes hard. Now, this is one thing I like about Bernie. It doesn't matter. He doesn't time it just to get there. He gets there in plenty of time to wait and make the catch. Good outfielders do that.
Here's Oliver, who singled in the second. Possible double play ball. Soho to Jeter. Martinez had to dig it out, but they turn it 4-6-3. The Mariners have little to show for their 7 hits through 4 innings off Pettitte. 40 years ago today, October 13th, 1960, Forbes Field, Pittsburgh, 9-9, bottom of the 9th. Ralph Terry delivers to the Pirates' Bill Mazeroski, who sends it over the ivy as a helpless Yogi Berra can only watch. And look at this, as he comes around third, look at the guy in the suit. That's Jim Gray, I believe, chasing Mazeroski for the post-game interview. There he is right there, Jim Gray, the intrepid reporter, chasing after Mazeroski as they go wild at Forbes Field. Soho, Brocious, and Knobloch in the Yankee 5th against Sele. Ball 1 inside to Soho. When the Yankees picked Soho up, reacquiring him from Pittsburgh during the season, doesn't seem like a monumental acquisition, kind of an agate type thing, but he's proved very valuable for them in this postseason especially.
Well, he has come in and taken over second base. He actually, Jose Vizcaíno was playing a lot of second base, and then all of a sudden, here in the playoffs, Soho has been playing every day and doing a great job, both offensively and defensively.
Inside, 2 balls and a strike. There's Vizcaíno, who is rivaling Dusty Baker for most fashionable eyewear in a big league dugout. In there, 2 and 2. McLemore's been a busy man tonight. Soho's retired. And coming soon to end. Scott Brocious singled his first time up. 3 for 7 in this series. Strike 1 from Sele.
We saw that Pettitte has started throwing the ball better in the last couple of innings. And now it appears that maybe Sele is starting to find his fastball, and he's locating it well. And again, the fastball is what sets up everything for Sele. Pettitte has a cut fastball to go along with his regular fastball. Sele basically a 2-pitch pitcher.
Fastball at the knees, a call, strike 3. The 3rd K put in the book by Sele tonight.
And that's the 3rd time that he has made a perfect pitch with the fastball. Look at this, knee high towards the outside corner, right there. That ball actually moved back a little bit. Started off the plate and moved back right on the edge. And
here's Knobloch, who struck out looking and flied to right. Since the RBI double by Justice made it 3-1 in the 3rd, Sele has retired 6 consecutive hitters. Meanwhile, the Mariners have 7 singles off Andy Pettitte. They've stranded 4. They've hit into a double play. They had a man picked off. Knobloch with a 2-out hit. That's his 5th hit of this series.
Anytime Sele gets behind and they can sit on the fastball, they've been able to have good swings at it. He gets 2-0. This pitch is pretty much in the middle of the plate. He's just trying to throw a strike. And that's what you should do, because you don't figure Knobloch to hit the ball out of the ballpark, so you want to make him put it in play. Gives him a fastball in the middle, and he lines it into center field for a base hit. You'd rather have Knobloch get a base hit like that than to walk him. So good job by Sele to make him put the ball in play.
Knobloch, who was once a huge stolen base threat, upwards of 50 in a season, stole only 15 this year. 15 of 22. Jeter is singled and grounded into a force play. And takes a strike. Not going anywhere. That one's inside, 1-1.
This would be a good time, you know, for Knobloch to try to get a lead at first base and try to get a jump and go. And he must make Sele think that he's going, because that'll help Jeter at the plate.
Sele is from Washington State, attended Washington State University, so that figured in his decision to come here as a free agent, just as it did with John Olerud. The money being as big as it is these days, you wonder why more guys don't base a decision on that. When you get up into multi-millions, you can't spend it all. You might as well decide based on lifestyle and family and whether you like the manager. I guess increasingly that's the case, at least with some folks. The 1-1 pitch, fouled off.
What Sele did there is he held the ball for a long time, and if you hold the ball on a guy that's trying to steal, normally he's not going to be able to get a good jump. He was just holding the ball, and then he fires a good fastball on the inside part of the plate. Jeter fouls it back.
Pitch out, and Knobloch's not going anywhere.
It's not a bad move, because it was a good time for Knobloch to try to get a lead and take off. But now you have to throw a strike, because they can put a hit and run on if they want.
The 2-2 pitch. Off-speed pitch is hammered to left, but there is Henderson. Ricky may not have been 100% sure how many outs there were, but as his teammates begin to leave the field, he gets the idea and he joins them.
Well, the Mariners have had some opportunities to break through. In the first inning, they had runners at second and third. Pettitte makes a great pitch on Olerud to get out of the jam. In the second inning, Cameron's up. He makes another great pitch in on the hands, and he gets out of a second and third jam there. So they had a lot of opportunities early, and here in the fourth inning, Joe Oliver just hits into an ending inning double play.
Now it's McLemore who starts it in the bottom of the fifth.
And again, Pettitte is throwing the ball much better now than he was the first 2 innings.
4 men left on base. In addition, another runner erased on a double play, and Martinez erased on a pickoff. So it may be Friday the 13th, but Pettitte has not been unlucky. If anything, it's been the opposite. He's led a charmed life, allowing 7 hits through 4, but leading 3-1. But it hasn't all been good fortune, as you pointed out, Joe. He's made, despite whatever poor pitches he's made that got him into some jams, he's made good pitches when he's had to. 2-1. Pettitte has been following a conditioning program somewhat like that of Roger Clemens, whom he idolizes. You might be able to tell if you've seen him in past years that he looks a lot stronger. He's filled out a good deal more. Big guy to begin with, 6'5", now weighing in at 215. Clemens has been able to prolong his career as a power pitcher through a determined physical fitness regimen, and Pettitte has tried to follow suit.
And being stronger keeps your legs stronger and allows you to keep your stuff longer. You don't get tired once you get around 80 or 90 pitches.
Going with that game day stubble, like the Rocket. Fastball popped out of play. Still 2-2 to McLemore, who laid down a 2-strike sacrifice bunt back in the second. Full count. Henderson next, and then Cameron.
Well, the one thing that Pettitte has been able to do anytime he goes to 3-2, he usually comes in on the right-hander. He's done that every time with the cut fastball. He seems to have more confidence with the fastball in than he does any other pitch.
Left that one out over the middle of the plate, but it's popped harmlessly to right and taken by O'Neill. Now Rickey Henderson, who's got his 3rd different stick in this ballgame. This is what happened to him first time up. The black bat is shattered, switches to a white piece of ash the next time up, and breaks that one in half.
And the second one was very important because all he needed to do was hit a ground ball someplace to get the run home. And he grounded it to third base. Well, he's got an even different model. He's got a different model this time, Edgar Martinez. The other, he's used 3 different types of bats.
Would you switch off and use a teammate's bat during your career?
No, I couldn't pick up most of them. They were too heavy. No, I didn't think that was a good idea unless you're really in a slump. You might want to do that just to change your swing.
Did you like it if teammates asked to use one of yours?
No.
Superstition?
Superstition, yes. Especially if I had one that was working. Pettitte he's throwing a lot more pitches now than you would like. He's gone 3-2 to several hitters lately, and he's also fallen behind a few hitters.
A line drive to right center field and very well hit. This ball bounces up against the wall. Rickey on his way for 2 and in with a 1-out double. Edgar's bat worked.
Yeah, but if you look at what Pettitte has done, Olerud got a base hit after leaving runners on. Now Rickey gets a base hit after leaving runners on. They're getting base hits, but not in key situations. Fastball up and out over the plate. And Rickey rips it to right center field. He had hit Rickey on the handle 2 times. This ball is hit in the gap in the right center. Bernie plays it well. That holds Rickey to a double.
Leaving Cameron with an RBI opportunity. Mike's had an infield single and grounded to short. He's 1 for 9 in the series. Hit .267 for the year. Up and in, ball 1. Henderson at second with one down. 1-0 the count to Cameron. Rodriguez on deck, and then Edgar Martinez if the inning is prolonged. 2-0.
This is a situation where if you're Mike Cameron, you have to say, I'm not going to swing at anything inside corner or off the plate end. You have to say, I'm going to wait for a pitch out over the plate. He's been able to jam Cameron with the cut fastball on the inner half of the plate.
Big pitch here with Rodriguez waiting on deck. Swing and a miss. Threw it by him upstairs.
If you get a hit pitcher 2-0, as the Yankees did with Sele, you have to sit on a pitch in a certain area and try to do something with it. You can't go up and out of the strike zone. He was trying to get this cut fastball in. He left it up and out over the plate, and Cameron chased it.
It immediately brought Posada to the mound. Now with Henderson out at second base, it's possible they could have changed their signs, and maybe Posada was crossed up there. Didn't hurt the Yankees in any case, but he came charging to the mound right after the pitch.
Well, it had to be something hard. It was either supposed to be a cut fastball or a straight fastball.
Now the 2-1. A little flare over short that drops for a hit. Here comes Ricky, and that'll make it a one-run game. Seattle closes to within 3-2.
Well, Pettitte made another good pitch. He jammed him. But Cameron was strong enough to get it over the infield and drive in Ricky Henderson. Now watch, he's going to get the ball in again, which he's done on Cameron several times. Jams him, but he doesn't get the break this time, and that ball goes into shallow left center field, and it's a one-run ball game. And they're excited. Anytime you can get within one run, you always know you have a chance with one swing of the bat.
At Yankee Stadium, the Mariners had only 12 hits in 18 innings. They have 9 hits tonight in 4 1/3. Cameron's 2 for 3.
And he looked like he injured himself diving back into the bag. He calls timeout. It looks like it maybe hurt his right hand. Takes a dive back and maybe jams his hand into the base. He immediately called timeout. That's a pretty good move right there by Andy Pettitte. You see he's crying out in pain there.
Settles in. He's singled and struck out. Another throw over, and Cameron gets back in standing. Andy Pettitte, at this point, lined up as a Game 7 starter, if there is a Game 7, has now allowed 19 hits and 7 runs in his last 8 innings of work. He deals to Rodriguez. It hits a high fly ball that very nearly reaches the roof. Justice in left makes the catch.
Nice play there by Justice. He was alive to the fact that Cameron was trying to tag up and go to second base. Man, he just missed that pitch. It was a fastball out over the plate, and he just got underneath it.
Did he ever get underneath it?
Well, he's looking to see if it's going to hit the roof.
With 2 out and Cameron at first, it's Edgar Martinez, who has singled twice. Strike 1 on the inside edge.
It appears that Pettitte has a definite pattern with Edgar. He's going to try to throw the cutter in and just move the ball away. He has to use both sides of the plate against a good hitter like Edgar. You can't just set up one way and stay there.
Rolled toward the middle. Jeter dives to smother it, shovels it to Soho in time for the force on Cameron at second. The Mariners get a run and creep to within a run. It's 3-2 New York.
NBC's coverage of the American League Championship Series is brought to you by Coors Light, proud partner of the John Wayne Cancer Institute and their search for a cure.
Safeco holds about 48,000. Beautiful ballpark. And talk about a step up. The Kingdome was just awful. Ugly. There's not a pleasing place in which to watch a game. Artificial turf. Should never play a baseball game on artificial turf. I mean, if that isn't clear to everyone by now, I don't know what would be.
Or football.
Baseball's even worse because baseball is the more aesthetically pleasing game to begin with. Tapped foul, strike one. David Justice, heart of the order. In the sixth, he'll be followed by Williams and Martinez. And on top of it all, the place was a bandbox. And there are enough additional reasons why offense is up all around baseball. You don't need tiny dimensions. This place is just beautiful. A pleasure to watch a game here. Sele jumps in front of Justice, 0-2. As he works here in the sixth, he trails 3-2. He's allowed the Yankees 6 hits. The Mariners have 9 hits, 8 singles and a double off Andy Pettitte, but only 2 runs. Lou Piniella grabbing a bat just in case. .297 career hitter, why not? Lou Piniella's contract ends after this season in Seattle, as we've mentioned. They'll want him back here, but Lewis said, I'm going to play it like A-Rod, my shortstop. I'll see what's out there, then I'll make my decision. He is still a fiery guy and still able to fire up his troops. Justice goes down swinging. But, speaking of Piniella, he is not as prone to the tirades, which were his trademark in the past. I mean, he used to throw some classic fits. Stomp, scream, hurl his hat, uproot bases. It could be rather entertaining, unless you were an umpire. This year, he was tossed out of only 1 game. The strikeout of Justice, meanwhile, was the 4th for Sele. Brings up Bernie Williams, who's homered and grounded to second. Ball 1 to him.
When you're talking about Lou Piniella, he told me also, he said that he watches the way other managers handle situations like Joe Torre, Dusty Baker. He said a lot of the guys now, they're handling this themselves a lot better. They're not as fiery and not yelling and screaming, and they seem to be getting better results. And he said also he's just mellowed a little bit with age.
Well, he was always a very emotional player. And then, as we mentioned earlier in this series, having played for Billy Martin, and Billy was such a specter at Yankee Stadium, and you couldn't get away from his influence and his aura. When Lou first became a manager as a younger man in New York, some of that influence was felt. Managed the Yankees in '86 and '87. Then they, quote, promoted him to general manager when they brought Billy back as the field manager in '88. Then inevitably Billy was fired at midseason and Piniella came back to replace him. 2-2 to Williams.
Well, he's starting to get his curveball down a little bit. He struck Justice out with one. Now he gets this one right on the knees to Bernie Williams.
And the count runs full. Sele got a bit careless back in the second inning with Williams. Just grooved the 3-0 pitch. And Bernie rode the fastball out of here. There it is. Into the seats in right center. Now the payoff. Hit back through the middle for a one-out single.
Good hitting there by Bernie Williams. He wasn't about to give in and give him another fastball 3-2, so he throws him a curveball, but he's trying to throw a strike with it. It's not his big hooking curveball. Watch, he's just trying to throw a strike with it. It stays up, and Bernie grounds it right back through the middle for a base hit.
Sele faces Tino Martinez, who followed Williams' homer in the second with a drive over the fence in left center as they went back-to-back. Chris Chambliss, the Yankee hitting coach, has been counseling Martinez to take the ball to the opposite field more or back up the middle, which is the advice a slumping hitter hears so often. Don't try to pull the ball. Take it back up the middle or the opposite way. And that's helped Tino snap out of this slump.
We've seen Sele this inning also take a little bit off of the breaking ball. That pitch, the first pitch to Tino, was just a little wrinkle, more of a half slider, half curveball. But he was just changing the speed.
Williams, the runner at first, is fast, but he's not a base stealer. He swiped 13 this year. Sele comes to the plate and floats it in there for strike 2.
Let's take a look at this curveball from Sele. That's a good one, right around the knees.
And here's the 0-2. Martinez reaches for it, nubs it up the first base line. Sele jumbles it and has no play. It would have been a tough play as his momentum carried him into foul territory, but he had time to make it if he played it cleanly.
Was in a perfect position if you're Tino Martinez to watch. He grounds it right down the line. Now, he probably should have thrown this ball because you can see Martinez is running inside the line, but he didn't throw it. So you can't get an interference call if you're running inside the line like that and he doesn't throw it. But he couldn't get it out of his glove, so there was no reason for him to throw it. He wasn't able to. It's a base hit.
Two on with one out for Posada, who struck out and grounded out. The Yankees now with 8 hits to Seattle's 9. Ball one high. Brett Tomko, who came over from Cincinnati, along with Mike Cameron and a couple of prospects in the Griffey deal, begins to get loose. And Posada skies one to deep right. Buhner turning to the track in front of the fence. He's going to have room. Bernie Williams tags and moves from second to third. Tino Martinez remains at first. Runners at the corners with 2 out.
And that's exactly where the ball carries best here. Straightaway right field, straightaway left field. And he just barely misses. It's a curveball. He gets underneath it. He hits it on the good part of the bat. He just gets underneath it. And just misses it because the ball will carry well straightaway right field. And Posada thinks maybe I got enough of it, maybe. And he's upset with himself for missing it.
Paul O'Neill, who hasn't had good swings tonight, he's 0 for 2, popped out, grounded out. 0 for 8 with a sacrifice fly in the series. Inside and low. They wanted to check down at third base. John Hirschbeck says no. No way he swung at that.
There's a fastball inside.
and he just breaks down. He really didn't attempt to swing at it. Watch, he never even really starts at it. Just gets out of the way.
Joe Oliver figured it was worth a try.
Well,
See if he could get a strike on his old Cincinnati teammate Paul O'Neill. Yankees trying to add to a 3-2 lead in the sixth. 2-0. The Yankees have won 3 world titles in the last 4 years. They've gone to the playoffs 6 straight years, the last 5 of them under Joe Torre. So Torre has reason to be patient with and loyal to his veterans, like Paul O'Neill, although he has dropped him down in the order to 7th until Paul hits, if that happens at all in this postseason. He grounds this one foul.
Every pitch in this situation is dangerous because if he makes a mistake and hangs a pitch, even though Paul's not swinging the bat well, he can still get it up in the air to right field. He threw him a 2-0 breaking ball there. Most of the Mariners pitchers in this series have tried to get Paul O'Neill out with a fastball. They figure he's been late on the fastball, and they've thrown him a lot of fastballs.
The 2-1. Hit hard through the hole. His first hit of the series produces a run. Williams crosses. Martinez stops at second. The hits are even at 9, but more importantly, the Yankees with a bit of breathing room, leading 4-2.
You see the target. They're trying to jam him again, but this pitch is out over the plate. He did not get it inside, and Paul O'Neill finds a hole on the right, and he hit that ball solidly anyway.
Now Sele, who's grounded to second twice. Ball 1 inside. Tomko has been throwing, but for the moment, Piniella sticks with Sele.
And that's a big run because the Mariners had just gotten 1 run closer in the bottom of the 5th inning. And right here in the 6th, the Yankees stretched their lead back to 2 runs.
For a long time, the rap on Piniella as a manager, if there was one, was that he burned out pitching staffs. Piniella and his defenders countered quite plausibly with the notion that it was the Kingdome that was burning out Mariner pitching staffs. The same way that Colorado managers have found it difficult to handle the Rocky pitching staff. Ask Don Baylor. Ask Jim Leland. Soho pops one into shallow right. The Yankees will score 1 and leave 2. To the bottom of the 6th we go. 4-2 New York.
Well, Paul O'Neill gets a base hit to put the Mariners down by 2. And he gets a lot of encouragement from his first base coach, Lee Mazzilli.
That's it, O. Way to look for pitch. Way to stay patient. That's it. Good job, buddy.
So Pettitte takes a 4-2 lead to the bottom of the 6th. It'll be Buhner, Olerud, and Bell. Buhner's 0 for 2. A high pop. Posada off with the mask. Brocious down from 3rd. And Posada wisely lets Brocious take it.
Brocious comes in and he takes charge. Right there he says, I got it, I got it. And Posada backs off.
Now Olerud, who popped to short with runners at 2nd and 3rd back in the 1st, and singled in the 4th. Considering how many base runners the Mariners have had, the fact that Pettitte has almost constantly been in jams, you wonder when there would ever be a use in this postseason for David Cone or Doc Gooden. If they didn't get up and warm up in the 3rd or 4th inning of this game, when would they ever come in? And it's a shame to see that at this stage of their careers.
There's David. He's in the bullpen.
One and two.
Doc stretching. Actually, at this point, they're probably hoping that they do not have to pitch. That'll mean that Pettitte's doing well. Roger Clemens.
Olerud smacks one to center. Bernie Williams is there. David Cone has been one of the great pressure pitchers of his generation. This year, it all just fell apart for him. He could never find a groove at all. And Torrey stuck with him as long as he possibly could, kept sending him out there, hoping that he would regain his touch. And while Dwight Gooden has had his moments over the past few years in both Cleveland and New York, it's been a long while since he was an overpowering pitcher, one of the game's masters early in his career. If you wanted to bet on somebody early as a Hall of Famer, you'd pick a guy like Dwight Gooden. It didn't turn out that way. A ball and a strike to David Bell. 2 out, nobody on, bottom of the 6th, 4-2 New York.
And you really have to take your hat off to Andy Pettitte because he has scattered 9 base hits to the Mariners, and they only have 2 runs. I mean, they've had lots of opportunities to score runs, and he's been able to make the big pitch when he needed it.
He hasn't walked anybody, which has helped. 2-2. He's had a couple of innings where he faced only 3 hitters because of a pickoff and a double play, but he has never had a perfect inning in this game. He set down the first 2 hitters here in the 6th. Just thinking back on Dwight Gooden and the early part of his career, when he and Darryl Strawberry came to the Mets pretty much simultaneously, most folks thought they were looking at the premier pitcher and the premier hitter of a generation. 2 certain Hall of Famers. A little pop into foul ground, Martinez has it, and Pettitte has his easiest inning of the night. Back after these messages and a word from your local station. Really a beautiful arrangement here at Safeco Field with the threat of rain. They close the roof, but the side, as you see, is open, so you can still feel the night air. It's very comfortable in here tonight. Beautiful atmosphere for a game. Tomorrow at Shea, 4 o'clock Eastern Time on Fox. It's the Cardinals against the Mets. The Cards go with Andy Dennis. The Mets with Rick Reed. New York up 2-0 in that series. We're back out here 4:30 Pacific, 7:30 Eastern Time for Game 4 of this series in Seattle. Paul Abbott, who was 9-7 for the season, pitches for the Mariners against Roger Clemens, who went 13-8 for New York. Brosius, Knobloch, Jeter in the 7th, and McLemore has that one eat him up, and Brosius reaches to start the inning.
Well, Brosius goes the other way. Finally, he's starting to swing the bat a little better, and if he can perk up, the Yankees will be in pretty good shape. Hits off the wrist of McLemore. He tried to block it and knock it down, but couldn't make the play.
And it's scored as an error.
That's a tough error right there.
And it brings Lou Piniella to the mound. So Sele works 6 innings plus and leaves on the short end of a 4-2 score. Back to Safeco in a minute. Here's the March 1st game summary. The Yankees got back-to-back home runs from Bernie Williams and Tino Martinez in the 2nd, an RBI double from David Justice in the 3rd, an RBI single from Paul O'Neill in the 6th. Brosius reaches on an error to start the 7th, and that finishes Sele and brings on Brett Tomko, who was 7-5 for the year, pitching mostly in long relief. He's been in the majors for 4 years, started with the Reds. This is the first time he's been in the postseason. They send Brosius in motion on the first pitch to Knobloch, but Buhner's going to take it just shy of the track, and Brosius back to first with 1 out.
I think that was a good situation. Try to get something started. You know Tom Cole's going to come in and try to throw a strike. He got the strike, but he hit it in the air.
Aaron Sele can only sit and watch and hope that his teammates can rally for him. Right now, he stands to be the loser. This is Tomko's first appearance in this series. He worked 2 2/3 and wasn't scored upon in the division series against the White Sox. Big swing and a miss by Derek Jeter.
Fastball in under the hands of Jeter. And Tomko has a good fastball, and he just spotted that one perfectly. Foul back 0-2.
Rob Ramsey, a young left-hander they added to the postseason roster after Jamie Moyer was injured, is throwing in the Seattle bullpen. The next hitter due is the left-handed swinging David Justice.
And you're at the point now, if you're Lou Piniella, you can not afford to fall any farther behind.
Struck him out.
Well, he throws him 3 fastballs, one in under the hands, another one in under the hands, and then he throws one away. That one was supposed to go back under the hands, but he got it away, and he strikes Jeter out.
Tomko, as you can readily see, throws hard. The rap on him, at least from some scouts, is that on occasion he hasn't been aggressive enough. If you have that kind of fastball, why not come after hitters, as he did there?
Well, especially right-handed hitters.
Stays in for Justice, who hits one foul.
And that ball really tailed in on Justice. It looked like a cut fastball or something, but watch the swing at Justice. He takes his top hand off just trying to get to it. Way inside. And he just tries to get to it. That's what you call trying to get it out of your kitchen. He still gets jammed, but doesn't hurt his thumbs.
And Tomko's 0-1 pitch is popped out of play. Justice has hit into a double play.
Strikes Jeter out.
Tomko, as you can readily see, throws hard. The rap on him, at least from some scouts, is that on occasion he hasn't been aggressive enough. If you have that kind of fastball, why not come after hitters, as he did there?
Well, especially right-handed hitters.
Stays in for Justice, who hits one foul.
And that ball really tailed in on Justice. It looked like a cut fastball or something, but watch the swing at Justice. He takes his top hand off just trying to get to it. Way inside. And he just tries to get to it. That's what you call trying to get it out of your kitchen. He still gets jammed, but doesn't hurt his thumbs.
And Tomko's 0-1 pitch is popped out of play. Justice has hit into a double play, delivered an RBI double, and struck out. Tomko's 0-2 pitch. Inside.
This is a 96-mile-an-hour fastball off the plate inside. Good 0-2 pitch.
Brocious is going. Here's Oliver's throw. A beauty, and they got it. Tremendous throw by Oliver. And Brocious is cut down stealing to end the seventh. Pitch was low. First he had to dig it out, did a good job of that. And right there to Rodriguez. Space Needle, the most prominent feature of the Seattle skyline. This is undoubtedly Andy Pettitte's last inning. Jeff Nelson is up and throwing in the bullpen. Joe Oliver starts it against Pettitte in the 7th. He'll be followed by McLemore and Henderson. 0-2.
Pettitte has been stretching his left leg like he's getting a little muscle cramp or something. He's been doing it for the last inning and a half.
A little roller. Pettitte off the mound, can't get it. Gross's bare hand throws and gets him at first.
Nice play there by Brocious. In fact, if Pettitte would have been able to field the ball, they would not have been able to make the play at first base. This ball is chopped. Now watch Pettitte goes after it. Now, if he gets it, he's running full speed the other way. If he gets it right there, there's no way. He actually lets it go. I think Brocious calls him off, and he makes the play.
Yeah, you could see from that angle that he purposely pulled back.
Yeah, and it must have been Brocious calling him off. So nice play there by the Yankees defensively. Good communication.
Oliver may have strained something, giving it all he had to try to beat it out. Here's McLemore. Bluffs the bunt, takes a strike.
Well, Oliver looked like he came up a little lame there on trying to beat the ball out.
One and one to McLemore, who sacrificed and flied to right. Strange outing for Pettitte. He's allowed 9 hits but only 2 runs as Nelson, the former Mariner, gets ready. He struck out only 2, but he hasn't walked anybody. And he's made some big pitches when he's had to.
The reason you have Jeff Nelson up instead of Stanton is because the top 4 hitters are all right-handed, are the ones that Joe Torre feels that can hurt him.
Well, apart from switch hitters, the only left-handed batter in the lineup tonight is John Olerud. And he's several hitters away.
There's Joe Torre looking over the lineup sheet and the people that he has on the bench.
Full count now to McLemore. Canella has plenty of left-handed bats on his bench. Al Martin and Raul Ibanez, plus switch hitters Stan Javier and Carlos Guillen. Walked it. First walk he's issued.
Pettitte throws ball 4 outside, and obviously he's not happy. That's his first walk of the day.
Henderson becomes the tying run at the plate. He hit only 4 home runs this year. He doubled to deep right center his last time up, and then scored on a Mike Cameron hit. Way high.
Well, one thing you have in Ricky Henderson, you know he's not going to chase pitches out of the strike zone. So Pettitte is going to have to throw at least 2 strikes in this at bat. I think John Zimmer and Joe Torre are trying to decide whether to come get him or not. And out comes Joe Torre. Well, he wants to check. I think he's taking the umpire with him to check on him. As I said, I saw Pettitte. It looked like something was wrong with his left leg.
Trainer Gene Monahan is also accompanying Torre to the mound. The fans boo because they find it suspicious.
Well, I think it's legitimate because Nelson has already been up throwing. If they've needed him, they're not stalling to get Nelson ready. He's already ready.
But who says fans anywhere are logical? They're going to stick with him. Henderson at the plate, Cameron on deck. If this inning gets as far as Rodriguez, there's one out now. Pettitte will be gone at that point, almost certain.
Well, that's what I think Jeff Nelson was getting ready for. Mike Cameron, Alex Rodriguez, and Edgar Martinez, because you're not going to pinch hit for anyone except for maybe Ricky Henderson in this situation.
The 1-0 to Ricky. Swing and a miss. Whole lot of baseball experience right there. Zimmer and Torrey. Jim was making noise about quitting again during the season. Joe Torrey said to him, "Are those aching knees of yours going to feel any better sitting in Florida than sitting in the dugout? Come on, stick out the season with me." 2-1. For his career, Henderson has hit Pettitte well. Counting this game, 9 for 24. In the air to center. Ernie Williams waves O'Neill off, and there's the second out.
Well, Pettitte just decided he was going back inside on Ricky. He's broken 2 bats of Ricky's earlier in the game. To watch, he comes inside again, and Ricky kind of fights it off and pops it up in the right field, and Joe Torrey's on his way to the mound.
It's a moot point as to whether or not he was charged with a trip the first time out, when he might have been checking on Pettitte's condition, because he'd already made his decision. He's taking him out, and he's going to bring in Nelson to pitch to Cameron. Far from the best outing of Andy Pettitte's career, but he was tough when he had to be. And if the bullpen can do the job, he's going to pick up his 8th career postseason victory.
And they're leaving it up to Jeff Nelson, who will come in to pitch to Mike Cameron. Cameron has had some success against Nelson. He's 2 for 6 with a home run. And there you see Mike Stanton warming up in the bullpen.
But the 3 hitters after Cameron, Rodriguez, Martinez, Buhner, are all right-handed.
And as he was in the first inning, Cameron he's the key guy in this inning. If he can get on base, he brings Alex Rodriguez up, who has hit 41 home runs this season, with Edgar Martinez to follow.
Cameron's 2 for 3 tonight. Strike 1. In Jeff Nelson's last appearance on the Safeco Field mound, he gave up a game-winning grand slam to Edgar Martinez.
And that was the game that Pettitte no-hit the Mariners for 6 innings and still did not get the win. He left with the lead, but Nelson gave up the grand slam to Martinez for the loss.
2 quick strikes to Cameron, who had 19 home runs for the season. He's the tying run at the plate in the bottom of the 7th. The 6'8" right-hander brings it home. The runner breaks from first, but it's a moot point. A called strike 3 on 3 pitches. He finishes Cameron and finishes the Mariners in the 7th. Still 4-2 New York.
And it doesn't get any better than this for Jeff Nelson and the Yankees. Good morning. Good afternoon, right in the middle, and then he chases a slider. He had one pitch to hit, and he didn't swing at it. That was a fastball in the middle of the plate.
I'll finish it for you. That was good night. David Justice was at the plate when Scott Brocious was thrown out stealing to end the Yankee seventh. So he starts it here in the eighth, followed by Williams and Martinez against Brett Tomko. Olerud at first. Tomko covers, and Justice is retired.
Well, you have to figure if you're the Mariners, you got one last shot. Obviously, you have A-Rod leading off the seventh inning with eighth inning with Red Edgar, followed by Buhner. And you're running out of time because Rivera will be on in the ninth. And unless you want to do something no one has been able to do for like 3 years, that's score a run off of Rivera, you better get something in the eighth inning.
It didn't seem so big when they took a 1-0 lead in both the series and the game to the bottom of the eighth in Game 2 at Yankee Stadium. But in that game against Orlando Hernandez, the Mariners had many opportunities to add to the 1-0 lead and couldn't get it done. Tonight, on 9 hits, they've managed only 2 runs. They've had their chances, and they haven't hit with runners in scoring position by and large in this series. The same was true of the Yankees until their 7-run explosion in the 8th inning of Game 2.
Really, the difference in the ballgame tonight has been the 2 big home runs. One by Bernie Williams, followed by Tino Martinez. I think that really gave the Yankees a shot in the arm right there because they were down 1-0 when that started.
To back up your point about this being an 8-inning game in all likelihood in terms of the Mariners' chances, Mariano Rivera is working on a streak of 31 2/3 consecutive scoreless innings in the postseason.
The last time someone scored a run off of him was in '97 when Sandy Alomar Jr. hit the home run off of him. So that's almost 3 years since someone has scored on him.
To look at it another way, that's 22 playoff appearances without anybody scoring off Mariano Rivera. His career postseason ERA, 0.34, the best of anybody who's pitched 30 innings or more in the postseason. The 1-2 pitch to Bernie Williams. He checks his swing and the count levels.
If there's one hitter who has really improved and looked really sharp tonight, it's Bernie Williams. He's laid off of a lot of tough pitches. He's fouled some off. He's hit the home run, and he's also grounded a single back through the middle. So he's actually been at the top of his game tonight.
And he had a big at-bat in that 8th inning with the Yankees trailing 1-0. He fought off several pitches, as I remember, and then took a 3-2 pitch into center field for the game-tying hit, and that opened the floodgates. Joe Torre has seen this group of players do it often enough in big situations not to be impatient. Although they have caused him some anxiety in the latter stages of this regular season and in the playoffs so far. Another base hit for Bernie Williams, his 3rd of the night.
He's on everything. He's sitting there. He's not moving. He's just waiting and handling all the pitches. And watch how he just stays there. Watch his head. He stays right on the ball, doesn't move, uses his hands on that inside fastball, and rips it to right field for a base hit. He has looked like a 360 hitter tonight.
Tino Martinez 2 for 3 with a homer tonight. 6 for 11 in the series. He had 3 hits in Game 2. Williams back easily. Even though Jeff Nelson is no slouch, as you said, Joe, Seattle has to figure its best chances in the bottom of the 8th with Rodriguez, Martinez, and Buhner, but that's provided that Tomko can keep it close. Oh, 2.
And we've seen Joe bring Rivera in the 8th inning with 1 or 2 outs to finish up a ball game. And this is a very important ball game for Joe.
Tomko, 27 years old, 6'4", 215. His 0-2 pitch struck him out. Second strikeout for Tomko since he came in an inning ago. And coming. Posada's 0 for 3. 1 for 9 in the series, batting now with 2 outs. And Williams at first.
And this is one of those situations, if you're Bernie Williams, you try to get a good jump and try to steal the base.
When Brocious tried it in the 7th, Oliver's throw was perfect. Not going. Fouled away 0-2. Crowd rises, urging Tomko to finish things here in the top of the 8th and set the stage for a possible rally in the bottom half. Tomko has fanned 3 in an inning and 2/3, giving his club a chance. Here's the Morgan Stanley Dean Witter well-connected play of the game. Bernie Williams and Tino Martinez each connected, back-to-back in the Yankees' second. Half of their runs in a game which they now lead 4-2 as the Mariners bat in the bottom of the 8th against Jeff Nelson. Rodriguez is 4 for 10 in his career versus Nelson. Takes high and away for a ball. In this game, he singled, struck out, and flied to left. He's better than good. Strike 1, 1-1. When they try to get the ball club juiced a little bit here with fan support, as Rivera gets up along with Stanton, they call it Sodo Mojo. Sodo standing for south of downtown, which is where Safeco is located. So the scoreboard often flashes Sodo Mojo. Good pitch, 1-2.
No one has swung at Jeff Nelson yet. He's making good pitches. He started A-Rod with a fastball for a strike. Now this is that little slider over the outside corner.
Unleash the mojo. They'd better do it soon. Rodriguez lays off. Jeff Nelson has gone to the playoffs and or World Series the last 5 years as a Yankee, but he still says the greatest thrill of his career was being part of the Mariners postseason run in 1995 when they won that great division series here against New York. Little tap keeps him alive. If the Mariners mount a rally, as Joe Morgan said, Joe Torre will not wait before going to Mariano Rivera. Rivera had 36 saves during the regular season, and in 13 of those, He got more than 3 outs to record the save.
Well, Jeff Nelson's very difficult for a right-hander to pick the ball up from.
Full count.
Well, A-Rod has done a good job to run the count to 3-2. All he wants to do is get on base for Edgar.
The payoff. A bouncer over the mound. Jeter to his left. Nice play. The throws wildly. And Rodriguez is aboard.
And it was a nice play by Jeter, but a lot of hustle by A-Rod forced Jeter to rush that throw. And I think Joe Torre is going to go out and argue that A-Rod turned at first base and went towards second. You see Jeter off-balance throw, but A-Rod may have beaten the play anyway. It's a nice play over the mound. He picks it. Now watch his throw. He has the throw running toward right field, so he throws behind Tino Martinez. And here's the question whether A-Rod makes a break towards second base. No, he did not. He just turned that way.
You see the first base coach, John Moses, signaling to him, stay right here. The ruling is base hit because, as you said, Joe, Rodriguez may very well have beaten it, and there was no advance on the wild throw.
Well, the question was whether he actually made an attempt towards second base. That's the question. And we did see him turn to the inside, but he stopped very quickly.
Except for a small opening in the middle, the dugout is protected by a fence and a screen there. It was on the other side, the first base side, the Mariner dugout. And the ball hit that fencing and bounced back, preventing it from going into the dugout, which would have been an automatic advance to second for Rodriguez. Well, both Nelson and Edgar Martinez remember well what happened the last time they faced each other. Jay Buhner is scheduled next, a right-handed hitter. The switch hitter Stan Javier comes out into the on-deck circle. Martinez hit a grand slam here at Safeco off Nelson earlier this year, a game-winning grand slam. He's 3 for 11 in his career against the Yankee right-hander. Billy Connors, the acting pitching coach, in the absence of Mel Stottlemyre, on the phone to the pen. Martinez is 2 for 3, a pair of singles tonight. Ball 1. There's Javier. Just about everybody in Safeco up on their feet. Inside 2-0. They checked down at first. He didn't go. Most of the players up off the benches at the edges of the dugouts to get a better look.
Well, if you want to get Martinez out, you run the fastball up and in as Nelson tries to do there, but it's off the plate, and Edgar was able to check his swing.
There goes the runner on 2-0. Posada doesn't have a play. Nobody even covered. The pitch was a strike, but Rodriguez strikes second in the process.
But Rodriguez gets a great jump. He just takes off, and Nelson takes a long time to deliver the ball anywhere. It's a breaking ball as well, down and away, and A-Rod easily into second base. No one even breaks. As you see, they let him steal second base.
Martinez had a career-high 37 homers this year. Tying run at the plate with nobody out on the bottom of the 8th. In there.
That's the situation where Edgar didn't pick the ball up because that was a pretty good pitch to hit. He's not going to get a better pitch to hit from Jeff Nelson than that. That was a breaking ball. It was pretty much in the middle of the plate.
The 2-2 pitch. Got him.
Now see, makes a good break pitch with the breaking ball. The second strike is the one that he let get away. That was a pretty good pitch to hit, but this one's a very tough pitch to hit. Breaking ball low, fastball up and in. Here's the breaking ball right out there on the edge for a strike. Comes back right down the middle there with a breaking ball. Now this is a good breaking ball right out on the edge. So that was the best pitch that he had to hit, and he took it. And out comes Torrey.
You have Javier set to bat for Buhner. Javier's a switch hitter. Rivera's out there along with the lefty Stanton. And it looks like he's going to Rivera. He's not going to fool around. Here he comes. Exit Nelson. Enter Rivera. Unscored upon in his last 22 postseason appearances. Now, I've always contended that there's an apples and oranges aspect to this, but there's no denying Rivera's greatness. All of Whitey Ford's scoreless innings came in World Series play in the early 60s, and most of those 33 consecutive scoreless innings were complete game shutouts against the Pirates in 1960 and Cincinnati in 1961, and carried over to the World Series against the Giants in 1962. Nonetheless, what Rivera has done has been magnificent. And if he gets all 5 outs that he needs to close this game, his streak will be longer than Ford's.
Well, he basically uses 2 pitches. He uses the cut fastball and the riding fastball, the four-seamer. And what has been so impressive is that he's always able to get that little cut fastball right in on the hands of the left-handed hitters. And Stan Javier has had a lot of success. As success goes, he's had 2 hits off of Rivera.
The first one to the switch hitter. Bounced foul. Javier has occasional power. He had 5 home runs this year. He's been around a long time. This is his 16th year in the major leagues at age 36. He started with the Yankees back in 1984.
That was a pretty good pitch to hit. That wasn't a good enough cut fastball. It didn't get in on him, and it was down. That's the one that's so difficult. That fastball is up and moving in on the hands. And it's very difficult for left-handed hitters to lay off this pitch because it looks like it's a strike out over the plate, and then it just moves in at the last instant on your hands right there. You can see the rotation with it moving in.
The 0-2. A bouncer to the left side. Brocious flips it to Martinez to retire Javier. And Rodriguez moves up to third, but with 2 out.
And that just shows you all the weapons he has. He went with a cut fastball the first 2 times, and then he throws him a straight fastball right in on his hands. Now, this is just a straight fastball. This is not the cut fastball. This one gets there quicker than the other one, right in on his hands.
Now it's up to Olerud, who has 7 career at-bats against Rivera with 1 base hit.
And we saw the base hit the other night, a jam shot to left field. But with Olerud's swing, he's able to fight the ball off inside and keep the bat level enough that he can hit a line drive to left field.
Down and in, 2-0. Olerud is 1 for 3 tonight. He had 14 homers during the year. He had 45 doubles. That's the kind of hitter he is. He batted .285. Rodriguez away from third with 2 out, and the 2-0 pitch is inside. David Bell, right-handed hitter, is on deck. They've got Al Martin and Raul Ibanez available. Also Carlos Guillen, who can play third base and could replace Bell. Called strike.
That was a situation where if you're Lou Piniella, I think you might have allowed John Olerud to go ahead and swing there. 3-0, you may have gotten the pitch to hit, but he still made a good pitch right on the inside corner.
Fouled off, full count. Rivera brings it home on 3-2. Into shallow left field. Justice is there. Rodriguez is stranded 90 feet from home. Through 8, it remains 4-2 New York.
NBC's coverage of the American League Championship Series is brought to you by Morgan Stanley Dean Witter. Move your money, get well connected. By Compaq. Welcome to the new IT. Inspiration technology from Compaq. By MasterCard. There are some things money can't buy. For everything else, there's MasterCard. And by NBCI.com. One site with everything you need.
New right fielder for Seattle as we move to the ninth. Javier, who batted for Buhner, stays in the game and plays right field. Tomko remains on the mound. He'll face O'Neill, Soho, and Brocious in the Yankee ninth. Tomko has been impressive. He struck out 3 in an inning and 2/3. Sharply hit, Olerud to his right. Tomko covers, nice play.
Well, if you're looking for something good and you're Paul O'Neill, he has been able to pull the ball the last couple of at-bats, get the barrel out there and hit the ball hard. One was a base hit, and that was a sharply hit ground ball. And a nice play by John Olerud. And he gives it to Tomko covering.
Which brings up Soho, who's wearing an 0 for 3 column. Ball 1. Just in case anyone might have been wondering, had Olerud gotten a hit in the bottom of the 8th, and had the Mariners scored 1 run, that would not have ended Rivera's postseason scoreless inning streak because he inherited that runner. Now, obviously, as he comes out for the 9th, whatever transpires there is entirely his responsibility. One and 1 to Soho. I think this rattled Oliver's cage a little bit. Hello.
Well, both teams have had 10 base hits. The Yankees have hit the 2 home runs, but they've also produced with runners in scoring position. They've been able to drive in 2 other runs. The Mariners had several opportunities early in the ball game against Pettitte and couldn't get the job done.
That one finds its way through. McLemore couldn't get it. Soho's first hit of the night.
Well, McLemore was playing him like a left-handed pull hitter.
Well, Soho had twice grounded out to McLemore on the right side earlier tonight.
Well, he gives him a lot of room up the middle, though. This ball is hit pretty much straight away, not even close to the bag, so they were playing him just way over in the hole.
Soho's coming out, and Vizcaíno will run for him.
Well, Vizcaino obviously can steal a base and a better base runner than Soho. Just in case Joe Torre wants to hit and run or do something with the base runner.
And we'll probably see Vizcaino at second base in the bottom half of the ninth.
And he's a good second baseman as well. He's a good glove man. He was a shortstop most of his career, but he's played second base very well for the Yankees.
All one down and away. Scheduled hitters in the bottom of the ninth: David Bell, Joe Oliver, Mark McLemore, all right-handed hitters. Check that. McLemore, a switch hitter. Scheduled to hit third in the ninth. After the Yankees scored 7 runs in the bottom half of the 8th in Game 2, it wasn't a save situation, but Joe Torre, with Rivera rested, used him to finish the game in the 9th. Pitch out. Vizcaino's not going anywhere. And Seattle got a man to third base with 1 out in the 9th inning, so they had a chance to, if nothing else, snap the consecutive scoreless inning streak of Rivera. But he got out of it with a comebacker for the 2nd out and then finished the inning, leaving the man stranded at third and keeping the streak intact. It's now reached 32 1/3. Called strike 1.
Grotius is also swung the bat well tonight. He had a base hit in the 3rd inning, and he hit a one hopper at second base in the 7th. They called an error. It looked more like a base hit.
Now Vizcaino goes. A swing and a miss. The broken Oliver bounces there, and he steals it.
Well, Joe Torre puts the hit and run on. It's a low fastball. Grotius swings and misses. The throw bounces, and you can see Rodriguez wasn't able to control it. If he controls it, he's going to be able to tag Vizcaino out, but it's a tough hop, and he's not able to come up with it.
Leaving Vizcaino in scoring position with 1 out. Grotius reaches for it and stays alive.
He actually threw his bat at it, and he got a piece of it to foul it off.
The man down at second base, Jose Vizcaino, probably has no superstitions about this being Friday the 13th. Not a man who chooses to wear number 13. Pop, Oliver back for a look. He has no play. What do they call that fear of the number 13? Trichstodectophobia? Our producer Eddie Fibershop contends it's Tristodectophobia. And I'm sorry I brought the whole subject up.
I am too.
Well, that makes 2 of us. Case closed. And we move on. Another 2-2 pitch from Tomko to Brocious. Full count. In any case, however it's spelled or pronounced, Vizcaino doesn't have it.
Well, David Concepcion, my double play partner at Cincinnati, wore number 13.
Not superstitious then, at least not in that regard.
No. But the worst thing was I had to wear it on a armband once because he missed the All-Star game, and I had worn an armband.
A walk to Brocious.
A walk?
1 at bat and a walk?
No, I was 1 for 3 in that game.
So it didn't jinx
13,
you.
I was 13, 1 for 3.
Didn't jinx you.
Yeah.
Here's the pitching coach, Brian Price, to the mound. Jose Mesa just now getting up.
Well, Tomko has pitched well in this short stint, but he could be running out of gas.
The left-hander Rob Ramsey was throwing earlier. It doesn't look like they're going to make a move here, with Knobloch the hitter and Jeter on deck. A reminder about tomorrow's baseball on Fox with Joe Buck and Tim McCarver and Bob Brenly and company. It's the Cardinals and Mets from Shea at 4 Eastern, 1 Pacific. Andy Benes trying to give the Cardinals a fighting chance. They're down 0-2 against the Mets' Rick Reed. And then we're back out here late tomorrow afternoon West Coast time, 7:30 Eastern time. Game 4 of this series, Paul Abbott against Roger Clemens. There's the Rocket alongside Jose Canseco, who's greatly amused by Roger's musings. Canseco's in uniform but inactive. They took him off the roster for the LCS and replaced him with the pitcher Jason Grimsley. Tomko wheels and doesn't throw. Canseco was on the active roster in the division series against his old Oakland ball club, but never got an at-bat. Has to be a tough situation for Canseco. Hit well over 40 home runs a year ago. He's got in the vicinity of 450 lifetime. He's been an MVP. Now a spectator.
And I talked to him today, but he's in good spirits. He says he understands, which is 99% of the battle. If you understand, you can deal with it. You can live with it.
Former MVP alongside a 5-time Cy Young Award winner. 1-1 to Knobloch. Chuck is 1 for 4 tonight. He had a 5th inning single off Aaron Sele. He was the first man Tomko faced when Brett came in the 7th, and he got him to fly to right. Called strike 2. Pitch misses down and away. Oliver can't find it. Vizcaino sprints to third, and that could be a big play.
And a good job by Vizcaino. You're taught as a base runner, anytime the ball goes toward the dirt, you take a step to the next base, because if it bounces and bounces away just a short distance, you can still make it. So he takes off right away, and there's no chance for Oliver to get him. But Brocious at first base can't take off right away because he's not sure if Vizcaino is going to go, and he can't run him off of second base.
So Brocious stays at first. Runners at the corners with 1 out. The infield has to come up.
What they should do is almost play half. That way they're playing where they can go for a double play. A 1-hopper to shortstop, you go 6-4 to 3.
A bullet through the middle, and more breathing room for New York. Vizcaino crosses. It's 5-2.
And that solved that problem.
Now they've got to get at least 3 runs off a man who hasn't allowed 1 run in the postseason in 3 years.
Well, he gets a fastball away, and he drills it right back through the middle for a base hit. Vizcaino comes in to score the run that should have been Soho's run, but he pitch ran for him. Soho got the base hit to start this rally.
Throws the fastball past Jeter upstairs for strike 1. They may be a bit late to catch this train, but some of the fans are nodding toward reality and getting up and leaving. Down at least 3 runs with Rivera set to work the ninth. One and one. Fouled out of play down the right field line.
This is more like the Yankee team that won in 1999 and 1998. They keep a lot of pressure on you, and they're able to plate runs. I mean, they're going to leave a lot of runners because they get a lot of runners. But this is the team that's get one here, one there, and add a little power, and they look like a good ball club again.
The only Yankee without a hit, as you see, among their starters, Jorge Posada, who's gone 0 for 4. The 1-2 pitch. Misses high. 12 hits for the Yanks. 10 for Seattle.
But the Yankees have hit with runners in scoring position, and Seattle has not.
Plus, New York went deep twice. Again, poked toward deep right field, into the corner, and out of play. That ball really carried down toward the 326 sign. Stan Javier gave it a run, but it was in the seats foul. Quite a contrast when you look at the dugouts. Just about everybody on the Yankee bench up along the railing. Nobody there for Seattle. The energy is all on the side of the visitors right now. Still 2-2.
There are the Yankee players standing up, as you mentioned. And there's the Seattle dugout. Most of them sitting down. Lou Pinella's the only one up and walking.
He may be up pacing around after hours tonight, too. This has been a frustrating game to have as many chances as they had against Pettitte and never be able to bring the hammer down against him. Full count now to Jeter. Justice on deck. There's your contrast right there.
But as we said, even though they got a lot of base runners against Pettitte, he made a lot of great pitches with men in scoring position. He broke some bats and had them reaching for his breaking ball away.
The runners break, and Jeter fouls it off. So Brocious back to second. Knobloch returns to first. Jeter settles back in anticipation of another 3-2 pitch. A bluff by Tomko once again. There they go once more, and another foul ball. The pace has slowed considerably in the last inning or so. It seems it's almost impossible to play a Major League Baseball game these days in less than 3 hours. Joe, you're a Hall of Famer who grew up with the game. I've been a fan of the game my whole life. One of baseball's most endearing features, or most appealing features, was always its leisurely pace. But in recent years, that leisurely pace has often become a lethargic pace. The runners go again, and they'll come back again.
I don't think there's any doubt that the game has slowed. You know, it's not about whether the action, it's about things that go on in between. You have more hitters stepping out. You have more pitchers taking longer to get ready to pitch. It's just a combination of things. Plus, there are a lot more runs scored today than ever before, which also slows the game.
You know, it's one thing if a 10-9 game takes 3 hours plus. Game 1 of this series was a 2-0 game. Ricky trying to catch a few winks, perhaps, in left. A 2-0 game that took 3 hours and 40 minutes. Game 2 was 1-0 going to the 8th, and that took about 3:45. Runners go again, and a check swing foul.
Well, Frank Robinson was in charge of trying to find ways to speed up the game. And actually, I guess they took a few minutes off 2 years ago, but they've added them back this year. But again, I think a lot of it has to do with the run production. There's so many runs being scored in Major League Baseball that it's very difficult to play a quick game anymore.
Especially in the American League, with the DH. You have fewer easy innings. Tomko looking back at Brocious. Jeter making Tomko work, and the fans wait for the bottom of the 9th. Once again, the runner's on the move, and ball 4 loads the bases. Lou Piniella has seen enough. Tomko was very effective until the 9th. Now he wants Rob Ramsey, the left-hander. You all know the drill by now. They change pitchers. We roll the commercial. We'll be here when they resume play. Tomorrow at 2:30 Eastern Time, NBC Sports presents the 2000 Basketball Hall of Fame enshrinement ceremony. 6 basketball legends will receive the honor, including our former colleague, Zeke Isaiah Thomas. The Piston great, now the new head coach of the Indiana Pacers. Congratulations to him. That's tomorrow at 2:30 Eastern Time. And then with the Breeders' Cup Championship under a month away, at 4:30 Eastern tomorrow, it's the Breeders' Cup preview from Belmont Park. Highlighting this big day of stakes races is the Jockey Club Gold Cup and the Belle Dame. The Breeders' Cup preview tomorrow at 4:30 Eastern on NBC.
Bob, it's good to see one of my favorite players, Bob McAdoo, go in as well with Isaiah Thomas.
Close to unstoppable. At his peak with the old Buffalo Braves. Ramsey to Justice, who cuts and misses with the bases juiced and 1 out at the top of the 9th. A run already home here to give the Yankees a 5-2 lead. Looking to take a 2-1 edge in the series. Ripped to right, base hit. 1 run home. Knobloch being waved in. The throw comes to the middle of the diamond. And that makes it 7-2.
Well, the Yankees are picking up right where they left off in the 8th inning in New York. It's a breaking ball, and Justice waits on it and rips it in the hole for a base hit. The throw goes toward third base. You see Jeter. Now, he makes a funny slide. I wasn't sure if he injured himself, but he seems to be okay. Now, here's the slide going right into third. You see bounces up and catches his spikes on the base, but he seems to be okay.
Meanwhile, the ballpark begins to empty out. Clay Bellinger comes on to pinch run, and he'll stay in the game and play left field for Justice. Williams bats from the right side and takes a strike. So, the Mariner bullpen, which had been untouchable until the 8th inning of Game 2, 15 consecutive scoreless innings in this postseason, didn't do the job on Wednesday in the Bronx, nor, all things considered, tonight. Although Tomko was pretty impressive for a while.
And I think he just ran out of gas, Bob, because basically he was using his fastball. And once you shorten your fastball against these types of hitters, they're going to be able to catch up with it. They couldn't catch up with his fastball the first couple of innings.
Now back 1-2. Even though the lead is now ballooned to 7-2, Rivera is still in line for a save because when he came into the game in the 8th inning, it was a save situation. It was only 4-2 at that point.
And if he's able to retire the Mariners without a run being scored in the 9th, he will still pass Whitey Ford's record, a postseason record of 33 consecutive scoreless innings.
Unless, like both of us, you make a distinction between those marks achieved only in the World Series and those that are combined achievements.
Correct. But I don't think they care about what men you think, because they haven't changed it, and they call it a postseason award, postseason records.
Evidently not. And in a week or so, they won't have to listen to what I think, and they'll have less places to listen to what you think. So what a relief that will be. At least to some. First and third, one out. And a full count pitch coming to Bernie Williams. Bellinger goes from first. Williams hits it high in the air to left. Ricky Henderson has it lined up. Jeter tags at third. Sprints for home. Bellinger retreated to first and tagged up and moved up to second base. It's 8-2 New York.
Ricky throws to home, but the throw should have gone to second base, and one of the infielders should have been yelling at him to make sure he didn't try to get Jeter at the plate. He had no chance to get him.
Great night for Bernie Williams. 3 for 4 with a home run and now a sacrifice fly. You could look at tonight's game as an excellent argument for why a manager should, at least in some situations, be willing to bring in his closer before the 9th inning. The important outs in this game, as Martinez lifts one to center, which Cameron will take to finally end the top of the 9th, the important outs for the Yankee bullpen in this game came in the 8th, not in the 9th. To the bottom half, with New York up now by 6, back after these messages and a word from your local station. As Mariano Rivera's remarkable scoreless inning streak in playoff and World Series competition continues, we look back to the last time somebody managed to score on him in October. It was a big run, opposite field homer by Sandy Alomar Jr. in the 8th inning of Game 4 of the series between the Yankees and Cleveland in '97. 3 years ago, that tied the game. Cleveland went on to win it 3-2. Then they won Game 5. It was the division series, a best of 5. They won Game 5 to eliminate the Yankees the next night. Some might have been shattered by that experience. Rivera grew stronger. Changes for the Yankees. The 2 pinch runners from the top of the 9th remain in the game. Bellinger for Justice in left. Vizcaino for Soho at second. That's Al Martin, who's going to pinch hit here in the 9th. Whatever tension might have existed, taken out of this game by the 4-run Yankee 9th. Turning a 4-2 game into what appears to be an 8-2 lapper. Martin started the year with the Padres. He had many productive seasons prior to that in Pittsburgh. Mariners picked him up during the season. He hit .285 with 15 home runs. Batting here for David Bell in the 9th.
Bob, it's just amazing to me to watch Rivera throw. I mean, he just rarely gets a ball in the middle of the plate. Everything is right on the corner.
A chance for Vizcaino, which he gobbles up to take care of Martin. to his bench once more as Martin sits down. Up comes Raul Ibanez. He'll bat for Joe Oliver.
I mean, watching Rivera in the postseason, you have to wonder how do they ever get him to blow a save. Look at that, right? I mean, everything's on the inside corner to a left-handed hitter, and everything on the outside corner to a right-handed hitter.
His motion is so fluid. The ball seems to just explode on the hitter. He gets up on top of you quickly from a hitter's perspective.
You're right. I mean, the free and easy motion, and then he pops the ball and it just jumps at you. You would think that he'd make a mistake every once in a while over the middle of the plate, but he just seems to be able to get the ball right where he wants every time. And on top of that, he has great stuff. I mean, he's got an overpowering fastball and a great cut fastball.
And a tremendous temperament.
Perfect temperament.
He's so at ease that he often naps during the early innings of the game. No joke. Goes down to the bullpen, around the 6th maybe. They won't need him before that. Has a little routine that he sticks with. You won't find his pulse racing in these situations. A little broken bat looper that is grabbed by Pettitte. The streak is now at exactly 33 consecutive scoreless innings.
So he has tied Whitey for it. Whitey's was 33 even, correct?
Mm-hmm. So whether we consider the record separately or not, if he gets one more out, it'll be 33 1/3.
And who knows how long it's going to go the way he's throwing.
Well, if it's 33 1/3, in a sense, it'll already be a long playing record for those who remember the days of vinyl prior to CDs. And this is what we're reduced to in an 8-2 game.
Well, if you're the Mariners and you want to look at a positive spin, put a positive spin on this, you say, well, we have 2 more games here at home. And if you can win both of those games, then you go back to New York and try to get a split.
But they're still not hitting, especially in the clutch, and all of a sudden the Yankees are.
That's true.
The Yankees, who were within a few outs of suffering the indignity of back-to-back shutouts at home, got the 7 runs in the 8th in Game 2, and now over their last 10 turns at bat, they've scored 15 runs on 21 hits. Here's the 0-2 pitch. Pettitte's going to get the victory. He worked his way in and out of several jams tonight before the bullpen came to his rescue. Another 0-2 pitch. Bouncer foul. The Yankee left-handed bats, Justice, Williams from the left side, a switch hitter, Tino Martinez, are now suddenly hot. They can probably get to Abbott tomorrow. At least that's what Joe Torre is thinking.
Well, they're definitely swinging the bats well, and we really watched Bernie Williams just sit there tonight, be in perfect hitting position and hit the ball consistently hard all night long. And Justice always swings the bat well. And as you mentioned, Tino Martinez swinging the bat well. So the middle of the order does the most damage for the Yankees anyway. And when they're swinging the bats well, they're going to score some runs.
Even Paul O'Neill, as you pointed out, dropped down to 7th in the order. Had good swings his last 2 at-bats in this game. Knobloch has been a contributor. Still can't figure out what's wrong with him in the field, but out of the DH slot, He's been very effective the past few games. Popped out of play. And McLemore hangs in. McLemore has only one official at bat tonight. He has a sacrifice, a pop out, and a walk.
There's A-Rod.
Bouncing ball toward Martinez, takes it near the bag. The game is history, and Rivera has made a piece of history himself. 33 1/3 consecutive scoreless innings in the playoffs and World Series. The Chevy player of the game is Bernie Williams, 3 for 4, including the homer, plus a sacrifice fly. The Yankees busted open with 4 in the top of the ninth. They win it 8-2 and take a 2-1 lead in the best-of-7 series.
And the scary thing is, as you mentioned, Bob, the left-handed hitters in the Yankee lineup are starting to swing the bat. And that spells doom for any right-handed pitcher that goes out there on the mound.
Mariano Rivera, as close to a lock as there is in baseball, especially in October. During this regular season, he was still very, very good. He was not as close to invincible during the regular season as he had been the past couple of years for New York. But in October, his mastery continues. Jimmy Roberts is with Bernie Williams.
Bernie 3 for 4 tonight. So many of the problems were offensive for the Yankees before coming in. Did the big inning in the game before have any contribution to what happened tonight with the run production?
Yeah, I would like to say it did help. It did help to boost our confidence. I think we came into this game knowing that it was going to be a hard game. We were grinding it, up, from the first inning on. And we were able to score a lot of runs, and it was just a great game for us.
23 hits in this, which is supposed to be a pitcher's ballpark. Can you talk a little bit about Andy Pettitte's contribution tonight, which seemed to be pretty gutty?
Oh yeah, he was grinding it all the way. He gave us his best, and he would make great pitches when he needed to. And I just can't say enough about his performance today.
All right, I'd imagine a sense of relief from the Yankees. Thanks for joining us, Bernie Williams. Bob, back up to you.
Jimmy, thanks very much. So that's the story from Safeco. Tomorrow's Game 4, 4:30 Pacific, 7:30 Eastern Time here on NBC. Paul Abbott, who is 9-7 for the year, will try and get the Mariners even. Roger Clemens, 13-8 for the season, but a guy who's had some difficulty in the playoffs so far, will try to give the Yankees the 3-1 edge. Again, our final score from the Great Northwest, the Yankees 8 and the Mariners 2. Tonight on NBC, following your late local news, it's The Tonight Show with Jay Leno. Jay welcomes comedian Drew Carey and the music of Macy Gray. For Joe Morgan, Jim Gray, who has nothing to do, so far as I know, with Macy Gray, and Jimmy Roberts, I'm Bob Costas. So long from Safeco Field.